Hey, welcome back to the Timesink Anime Podcast. This is week 3 of fall 2018. I am Rex, and this is my co-host JT.
Hey everyone, how's it going?
And we are back with another spicy week of anime.
Spicy? What's so spicy about it?
It's the cutoff week.
Yep, the chopping block. Yep. We finally reached it.
Yeah, the dreaded week that has been foretold for years.
Or more like a couple weeks.
The prophecies have spoken of the day when the anime shall fall and the others shall rise.
Anyway, but for those of you who are just joining us, we chose at the beginning of the season 16 shows, and we decided ultimately we're going to be cutting it down to 12. Mm-hmm. And this was actually a really hard decision.
Yeah, we had to just go to numbers, like
pretty much. Yeah,
we took. What are our favorite shows, or what are my favorite shows? What are JT's favorite shows? And then we also took some community input as well.
Yeah, we it's all a very complex algorithm. You guys wouldn't understand it. But no, ultimately we are going to be dropping 3 shows. We thought we were going to have to be dropping 4, but considering Attack on Titan ended recently,
yeah, it just awkwardly ended.
Yeah, at this point of the season. Point. But whatever. So we only had to end up dropping 3 shows. Mm-hmm. But
yeah, first of all, what have you been watching this past week?
I started watching Assassination Classroom. I recently finished the 2nd season of Certain Scientific Railgun. Assassination Classroom, I think I started the first episode, finished it, and then got started on the 2nd episode. But I haven't finished it yet, so my knowledge of the series is very limited so far. But the hook is really interesting. If you don't know, it's a weird alien creature shows up after blowing up 70% of the moon. He basically says, "Hey, I'm going to do the same thing to planet Earth. If on the one condition, I won't do this if you allow me to teach this class 3E at this specific middle school located out in the middle of the boonies."
Why 70% of the moon? Why not just the whole moon?
To make a point, I guess. It's some arbitrary number, but yeah, this thing is really powerful, and basically the goal of the students is they have to kill their teacher before they graduate. And,
yeah, I've heard it's good. It's on my list.
Yeah, judging from the first episode, I really liked it. I'm watching the dub currently, so there's a lot of Funimation regulars. Sunny Straight is playing Koro Sensei. That's the name of their teacher.
Sunny Straight is Krillin, right?
I think so, yeah. I'm pretty sure that's Krillin. Yeah. So it's interesting hearing him in this sort of like a goofy teacher role rather than the person who gets his ass kicked. And then I also finished Railgun, which it's more Railgun. What's more to say? It was a anime original arc, but it was a good one. Like the anime original arcs in Railgun are filler done right, I think, and that's very rare to do. But
sure is.
Yeah. And how about yourself? What have you been watching?
A little bit more Space Brothers. I got to the 3rd opening, which I think is like episode 20 something. Mm. But yeah, I got there, and it just continues to be really feel-good-y.
Yeah.
Enjoyable show. It's the message I love about the show is that it's like, even if you're 30 and you haven't accomplished your dreams yet, you can still get there.
Yeah, I mean, that is a really good message, and it's actually funny that you bring up Space Brothers as well, because as we've said before, this is one of our friends' favorite shows, and I recently watched a video from Jeff Thu from Mother's Basement on the 5 anime that make me happy, and he said pretty much the exact same thing. Space Brothers is one of his 5 series just to watch to make him feel good, and for pretty much that same reason, just because of that positive message of being able to just pursue your dreams, even if you think you're over the hill.
It's never too late.
Yeah, it's never too late, and it is such a cool thing. And people always try to say it's like, oh, you have to accomplish everything in the world by the time you're 20. You have to be financially stable, all that stuff. No, you don't.
Yeah, it's a learning process.
Yeah, who came up with that? Those people are a-holes.
Yeah. So next up, I've been watching a bunch of new stuff that came out this season. I watched Anime Yell, which is like a cheerleading show.
Oh, yeah?
Not much to say about it. Seems kind of very generic.
Moe Blobby?
Yeah.
Which is funny, because you like those kinds of shows.
Yeah, but it wasn't like, I don't know, the characters weren't that interesting. Like, I'll give it another chance. Hitomaru Sumo, which I'm having a blast with.
It's basically Hajime no Ippo, but with sumo wrestling, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's ultimately what I've heard. And Hajime no Ippo, isn't that one of your favorite sports anime?
That is my favorite sports anime.
Okay, so if you're getting a lot of the Ippo vibes, it's no wonder you're liking it so much.
It's just like small guy takes on the big guys.
Yeah, it does sound pretty awesome. Only complaint I have about visual design is, what the hell is wrong with their necks?
Yeah,
they have some really thick necks.
It's an artistic choice.
But, and then also the main character looks like he got put through a meat grinder. Is there any explanation?
No, not so far.
Okay.
I've only seen like 2 episodes.
Okay.
And the last one I watched was Uzumade, which is my favorite trash show of the season.
Yeah.
It's just like previous self-defense force person wants a job taking care of pretty little girls. And so she gets hired on as a maid, and the maid is a tiny little tsundere ball of anger.
Mm-hmm. The maid? You mean the little girl?
I mean, the little girl, yeah. So it's just like the maid trying to get closer to the little girl, and the little girl trying to get over the death of her mother.
So it's like Sweetness and Lightning, but in reverse. Like, if Sweetness and Lightning, it showed you, it's like, oh, she's so adorable, she's so cute, she's a sweetheart, all this stuff, but this little girl is just garbage.
Yeah, and she's like a neat, because she doesn't want to go outside because she's all sad and whatnot, doesn't want to interact with people. But, I mean, I would not put it anywhere close. I would not give it a critical score anywhere close to Sweetness and Lightning. And Sweetness and Lightning would be like an 8. An 8 or a 9 for me. This would be like a 2, and I love it.
Critically speaking,
yeah, 2, maybe a 3 or a 4, but yeah, that's all I've been watching.
But if you had to put it on terms of critical score, well, I think that's important. What about your enjoyment of it? What would you put it
enjoyment, I'd probably put it up like a 7 or an 8.
All right, so you'd have to say probably compromising those two. It's probably somewhere around a 6.
Yeah, let's just move on.
All right. So, as we started saying at the beginning, we are going to be first talking about some of the shows that we are going to be dropping this season. The ones that we have ultimately decided to drop are...
First, we have an important news announcement.
Oh, that's right. I'm terribly sorry.
Funimation severing its ties with Verve.
With Crunchyroll, but indirectly, yes, Verve, but I don't know how to feel about this one. It's, at first glance, it's annoying.
Yeah.
It's just annoying.
Just as we thought, like, oh man, finally, Verve, Crunchyroll, Funimation in the same place. Finally, we can have pretty much all the anime we want to watch in one area.
With the exception of a few outliers, like Amazon, High Dive, and then Netflix.
But a good 90% of anime was on
exactly.
Verve.
It was all consolidated in one easily digestible place. But yeah, with Funimation severing its ties to Crunchyroll, it's kind of a shame. It's supposed to be effective, early November 9th?
November 9th, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, November 9th. So that means that basically a lot of the shows from Funimation, on the Funimation catalog, are going to be leaving Verve entirely.
Yeah, shows that are primarily licensed by Funimation are going to be leaving Verve / Crunchyroll. And then also shows that are primarily licensed by Crunchyroll are going to be leaving Funimation.
Yeah.
An exception to that is any long-going contracts for shows, like Attack on Titan and Hiraka. Mm-hmm. Probably a couple other ones.
Yeah. But there is some good news for this, actually. High Dive is actually slated to replace Funimation's seat.
Yeah. Which makes me wonder if High Dive originally wanted to be on Verve, but they're like, we don't have enough room.
Maybe. I really don't know. But Funimation leaves, and High Dive is actually going on there. Mm-hmm. Which, so if you happen to be one of the few people that actually has a High Dive subscription, you don't have to worry about that here pretty soon, because you'll be able to just watch it on Verve like everything else.
So yeah, all I have to say is, Sony, you ruin almost everything you touch.
I have no comment on that specifically, but I'd entered this with a little bit of a with hope, I guess, because I was thinking, all right, they partnered with Sony. That's not necessarily the end of the world, because people were saying the same thing when Marvel got bought out by Disney, and that actually proved to be a huge benefit for Marvel. Mm-hmm. But so I was thinking to myself, okay, I'll see how this pans out. I'm not going to make any rash decisions, but if this really was just marching decision by Sony, then why? There's really no need for it.
Yeah, it's going to be a loss of money, in my opinion, overall. Like, because all the revenue you would have gotten from the cross subs from Verve, like, I'm not entirely sure exactly how it works. It might just be based on how many views they get specifically for their Funimation content. But, I mean, I would assume when they go into partnership with Verve, they would just get a portion of all subs. Even if it's a small portion, it's still a portion. So, like, people that wouldn't subscribe to Funimation normally, you're still getting revenue from them because they want stuff on, like, Crunchyroll and stuff like that.
Yeah, I actually had a Funimation Now account, but then I suspended it when I was like, oh wait, you're telling me I can just watch these shows on, I can watch the dub shows that I want to on Verve? Okay, cool, I can cancel that.
You're telling me I can watch all these anime for one convenient price of $7.99?
But anyway, you know, just as a disclaimer, no, we are not sponsored by Funimation, Verve, or any of those guys.
Secondary disclaimer, I'm willing to accept any sponsorship for Funimation for any of those guys.
Yeah. Anyway, so, back on to the shows that we're going to be canceling. We're going to be not watching, or talking about, rather, on a weekly basis. Our Run with the Wind, Radiant, and That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. So, let's talk about those how we normally would. For starters, Radiant.
Yeah, let's talk about, Radiant. It was, I'd say it's a pretty solid episode. Both mine and your opinion, after watching this episode, pretty much is a consensus of, this is a good kids show.
Yeah, that's pretty much what the impression that I was getting in from, like, pretty early on. It's a good kids show. Like, it seems like it's definitely more aimed at young boys who are probably like early teens, maybe even like 10 to 13 years old, maybe, if I had to put a number there. But so there's and you can tell like the setting and stuff, like the character designs. It's all very kind of similar to One Piece, and they're kind of goofy character designs and stuff like that. It's
very cartoony, kind of a little bit Western inspired.
Yeah, because it was made in France, wasn't it? Like Radiant?
I don't know.
It was a French manga or something.
I'll take your word for that. But yeah, it's very, like, tropey. It's something that you would enjoy a lot more when you didn't know about all those tropes.
Yeah.
But now, once you've been exposed to everything, you're like, okay, I've seen this a million times. So it's just, it just seems like a really good kids show. I think it might get a little more interesting later on. It looks like it's setting up for kind of a fun story.
Yeah, I mean, and by fun story, it's like an adventure to find One Piece. I mean, never mind.
Yeah, I want to be the king of the ninja pirate slayers.
The ninja pirate sorcerer things. But
there's a goal there. There's always a big goal in every shonen series.
Yeah, and this is no exception. This one being, he wants to find the Isle of Radiant, which is supposedly the nest of the Nemesis. Ooh. Yeah. Because, I had just thought about this. You know how in Attack on Titan, and Eren's obsession with wanting to kill all the Titans, like, it makes sense, but it's also kind of disturbing how he like how obsessed he is. Here it's slightly different. They try to paint it off as a kind of a good thing. Yeah. I want to commit genocide.
Yeah. Which I'm assuming that eventually is going to be somewhere, at least with the tone of the show. It seems like it's going to go to the point where the Nemesis aren't actually super evil. Like they're just doing stuff to live or whatever.
Maybe. Which, I don't know, maybe his motivations will change, but the episode primarily focused on Alma, who is, and her backstory, which, okay, how many times, stop me if you heard this one, I lost my memories, I'm trying to find my purpose now, there's a little kid following me. I guess I'll take care of him.
Yeah.
He's the only thing that's really connecting me to my past life.
The backstory for Alma was something I was really impressed with. It was actually really engaging. I was really interested for that part. It kind of it was a little tropey, but it also took a kind of a step back from the generic shonen that the last 2 episodes have been.
Yeah, that's true.
And I actually I actually feel for this character.
And I think part of it that kind of did take it out for me though was the fact that she kept narrating everything that had happened. Like rather than just showing us everything that happened and just kind of using visual storytelling to its advantage, they were narrating most of it, which kind of took me out of it.
Right. Would you have rather preferred if it was like silent,
not
or just like dialogue as if it was an actual flashback?
Dialogue as if it was an actual flashback. I think and maybe sometimes for silence but yeah, just her constantly narrating over it. It just kind of did take me out of it a little bit. It kind of that makes more sense for when it's a book, but for like a visual storytelling medium like anime, just let yourself tell it with the pictures and stuff.
Once again, that's probably part of the fact that it's like a kid's show.
Maybe
that's probably why they did it. But I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah,
so they're like, let's just narrate it as if it were a story for the kids.
Now, the one thing I would definitely say that actually kind of did get to me a little bit was when Seth gets sent off by Alma. That was actually kind of sad.
Yeah, a really emotional scene.
Because, and I think that the biggest part, sure, we'd seen this kind of scene happen a million times before, but I think it was really sold by the voice actors. The voice actors, I never would have expected Ragyo from Kill la Kill and Asahi from Happy Sugar Life actually having a emotional moment like this. I don't remember the voice actress for Seth, but Romy Park did a really good job here, and actually hearing her in a kind of nurturing role, kind of surprising when you consider that.
Romy Park? Yeah,
her name is Romy Park.
I heard Japanese.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's a surprisingly not Japanese name,
right? But yeah. So that was ultimately my impression. I think that they did a pretty good job with that, but all the same, it does seem more targeted towards children.
Yeah, less interesting to talk about. I think they set up a solid kids show.
Exactly.
A solid shonen adventure show for kids.
Yeah.
I might just, keep watching it on the side, a little more here and there.
I don't know if I'll continue watching it when I've got a million other things to watch, but I don't know. If it does seem to pick up in coming weeks, I might pick it up again. So.
Okay,
Now, the show that actually kind of breaks my heart that we have to part with, Run with the Wind. Now, this episode was primarily just the training montage.
Yes, Haiji forcing everyone to run a 10-kilometer round trip.
Yeah.
Which is, it's about 6 miles for all of our Western friends.
Yeah, so pretty much pretty much everybody here, it seems.
Yeah, well, most people don't understand the metric system.
Well, yeah.
I don't understand the metric system. I had to use Google.
I like the metrics. I like the metric system a lot more than the U.S. customary or the imperial system because everything's multiples of 10. Yep. It's so much easier to follow. I cannot understand conversions for the life of me. I haven't had to really use that. But
all right, enough about the metric system.
But so we actually got a little bit more into the character's headspace, like Nico having to try and give up smoking.
Yeah,
for one thing.
Haiji came up to him and grabbed the cigarette out of his hands. It's you gotta train hard. We got Kakeru. In the morning, he immediately just goes on a rant, saying we're not gonna do this. We can't do it. It's everyone here is not trained nearly hard enough to even come close to the people who do it normally.
Yep. And the other big thing is, all these people are massively, and I mean massively out of shape. Especially Prince, who always has freaking butterflies surrounding him.
He looks like death. Just every time he tries to run.
If you've seen Mob Psycho 100, anytime Mob is trying to run with the Body Improvement Club, it looks like that. He's So, but yeah, we get to see a lot of that, and then also we get introduced to the jilted former lover, teammate of Kunohara.
Yeah, at the end of the episode.
Yeah. So
probably teammate.
I'm joking, of course, but leave it to the Fujoshis. They're probably going to ship them almost immediately. But yeah, this episode was mainly just building up, like, just how impossible and how insane this idea is.
Yeah, multiple times throughout this episode, Kakeru just kind of, for lack of a better term, threw a fit.
Yeah. Just
saying, like, no, you can't do this. It's impossible. Stop trying. Which, we don't know all of Kakeru's past. Probably stopped being in this club for whatever reason. Because he said, and I quote, "I don't work well with others."
Yeah.
Like, I don't work as a team or something like that.
Which probably lends to the idea that possibly he let his teammates down, or they let him down, and he feels guilty about that.
Yeah, something like that.
And because the other guys, they all actually call him out on that. It's like, why are you telling us this? It's
yeah, because at this point, like, pretty much, I wouldn't say everyone's on board, but everyone's at least running.
Yeah. Although Haiji, at the end of the day, isn't much better. He's kind of still a selfish prick. Like, he's basically trying to force and or blackmail everybody in. He actually is successfly blackmailed the last person, it seems, Yuki.
Oh yeah, Yuki was in a club and he like shows up, he's like, "Hey, what's up? Hey, how about that run?" And while he's trying to like hit up on two girls.
Yeah.
And then like
it's like, hey, if you want to keep clubbing, that's fine. Just know that I'm gonna come with you.
Yeah, I'm gonna show up every night. And then like Yuki gets mad at him, he's like, "What? My ears, I can't hear you. How do you do this every night?"
Yeah.
Another thing Haiji did was he brought along Hinako.
Oh yeah, as like a sort of motivator.
Yeah, his friend. Just it's like if there's a girl watching them work out, then they're gonna work out harder, which was immediately true.
Mm-hmm.
Like
the twins,
they all started showing off, and then like the morning after she's introduced, when she shows up, they're all like doing push-ups and stretches in the yard, like pretending not to look at her. Like,
which I'm sure, which I'm sure it was in part just to kind of show that in a comedic fashion, but at the same time, it's like, hey, to any of our female fans who are watching this, check out these hot guys doing stretches. Yeah. But yeah, this show has been setting up to be a lot of fun and just a feel-good, like, sort of sports anime, kind of like Hanabado last season.
Mm-hmm.
But, and then also just showing, I don't know, like, if it's set for 24 episodes, it makes me wonder if they're going to, like, go for the preliminary thing, which they had already said even that is ridiculous because of just the intense training and stuff they'd have to do to actually even just qualify or to actually succeed for qualification. But makes me wonder if they're going to fail and that's going to make them train harder or something, or they're going to just barely make it in.
Yeah, the first 12 episodes are probably going to be leading up to and then doing the qualifier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, so unfortunately, though, we won't be talking about it on our weekly podcast, but for the future, we actually are planning on continuing to watch this show and possibly review it just like as a standalone episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, I'm definitely going to keep watching it. Like, it's good, but it just barely got edged out.
Yep, exactly. So, anyway. Well, I'm going to keep watching it. And the last show we were cutting.
Yeah, is that time I got reincarnated as a slime, which had a really strong beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it was a pretty novel concept. Was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. And then like the most recent episode though, kind of, it was fun, but that's all I can really say about it.
Yeah, it was sort of what I was worried about. It feels like it's just going to be that sort of isekai power fantasy type show, sort of like SAO and so many other shows like it. Like, in another world with my smartphone.
Oh god, I watched the first episode of that and that's it.
Oh, really? You only really? You watched an episode? I haven't even seen one. I've heard it sucks.
It's because shows like ReZero and Overlord make me think like, well, maybe they're not all bad. So now, like, occasionally I'll watch an episode of an isekai show.
But just to kind of illustrate the point that it seems like it's going to be sort of like a power fantasy kind of harem-y type show. So in the third episode, he has an army. He pretty much has an army now. He has an army of goblins, which he, after he names them, turn into hobgoblins and goblinas, I believe is what they're called. And then he has an army of direwolves who all get ridiculously stronger just because he happened to name one of them. And so,
they explained it in a way that made sense.
I mean, yeah, it made sense, but at the same time, it was still like, really?
That's
okay.
convenient.
It's like, well, it's like, ooh. Now, again, kind of novel concept aside, the show, like, it'll probably get sort of better, but at the same time, I just think it is definitely one of those things that I'm just worried that it's just going to be a power fantasy type show.
I think I said before that I think it's going to be a lot more interesting once they start introducing more human characters.
Yeah.
And once Rimuru gets his human form.
Mm-hmm. Which I wonder how that's going to happen.
Yeah.
If nothing else, I will keep watching just to see how that kind of pans out. Because I am interested in that.
Yeah, so I do like his creativity, too. Because, like, in the beginning of the episode, all the goblins were like, we're dying. So you're like, eat him to heal him. And you're like, kidding. And then he's just like, all right, I guess I'll eat him.
And it's like, oh, wait, that's right. Healing potions are in my body.
Just, like, sucks him up, puts a healing potion in him, and then spits him back out.
And he does that with all of them.
Yeah, he's like, I guess it worked.
Yep.
Cool. So he's just going around the tent, just like,
yeah. I'd almost forgotten that I was just like, oh yeah, I guess I'll eat him. Because I was thinking it's like, oh, he's going to eat them. They won't have to suffer anymore. But,
yeah.
Oh wait, no, that actually worked. Okay.
And
then, like, all the ways that he's using all his different powers, like using like the thread.
Yeah,
that,
he used like the spider ability to make traps.
Yeah. Again,
cool.
all really cool and all really fun, but at the same time, again, episode 3, I have an army.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a good show. It's going to be a fun, good show. And I'll keep watching it.
I will also keep watching it. I want to say that just because I'm kind of being a little harsh on it, maybe, but at the same time, I want to say, yeah, the show is fun. I just don't think it's going to be absolutely amazing.
So, if it wasn't a season with so much good stuff...
Exactly.
it would be easier to watch this.
Yeah, exactly. There's just way too much good stuff this season.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's going to be all... those are the 3 shows that we are dropping. So, we are officially down to 12 shows. Also, really quick, Suderne still hasn't showed up anywhere.
It says it's supposed to be on Crunchyroll. I have not seen it anywhere. I mean, and that was one that we haven't really that I wanted to watch because hey, Kyoto Animation doing another sports show. Yeah, and if nothing else, it's gonna look good. But I don't know. It just hasn't shown up yet, so we're probably not going to talk about Suderne. If it
so about that.
Oh, is it Netflix?
No. So I literally just checked just now. It's up on Crunchyroll.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. So we checked yesterday, and it was not.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we're not gonna talk about it weekly.
But I want to at least give it a watch.
Yeah, like we'll watch it and maybe we'll do a review at the end of it. Yeah, because as soon as you brought up Suderne, I was like, well, maybe I'll just check just in case, so we don't look like total idiots.
Shh, you're breaking the illusion. You're breaking the illusion. Don't pay any attention to the man behind the curtain.
So yeah, Suderne we'll probably watch it and then give it a review when it's over.
Yeah, some other shows that people have been talking about and also have been looking toward that are possible review candidates are Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. I've heard that's really fun. I heard it's a good show, very Monogatari-esque. But
yeah, I've seen the first 2 episodes.
I saw an episode of it and it looked interesting enough, stupid title aside.
Yeah.
It's a light novel.
I mean, it's not as bad as I Want to Eat Your Pancreas.
What?
Yeah, it's a new movie coming out. That's apparently not anything about eating pancreases.
That sounds really dumb. But yeah, there are some.
Bloom to You is another one that people are talking about.
I've heard about Bloom Into You, and I've heard it's a pretty good manga. and that's getting a fairly faithful anime adaptation so far, so I'll probably be looking into that here in the next few weeks, and maybe we'll review it in the future. But other than that, let's get right into the shows that we're going to be talking about for the rest of the season, and also Attack on Titan, because since it's ended, I feel that we should talk about the most recent episode as well.
Yeah, we should start off with that.
Alright, so, Attack on Titan. This episode just felt like setup for the next arc.
That's exactly what it was. It's the calm before the storm.
Exactly. Which by calm, we mean raucous celebration. Because the scouts were getting ready. The scouts were just getting ready to head off. It's like, this is going to be our last mission to retake Wall Maria. This is going to be our last hurrah. Only problem with that, they're going to have this huge celebration. It goes just about as well as you'd expect.
It's a celebration. Sasha sees meat
and goes completely apeshit.
She goes feral.
Yeah.
Like, she starts trying to eat it all, and they try to take it away, and then she bites John's hand.
They have to put her in a chokehold. They have to tie her up. It's like, how does this girl still have energy?
Yeah. He's like choking her out. She's like unconscious, but still fighting. Jesus Christ. And like, Kamuy has like a look of genuine terror on his face. It's like, what are you doing? Stop! Stop! That's not meat. You're eating John's hand.
Oh man. And then John and Aaron, they kind of get into a little bit of a tussle. Like, I guess because again, like with most shows like this of manly men, like having to settle their differences by punching each other,
beating the shit out. Oh, it's like, it wasn't even like a fight. It was just, it's my turn to punch you in the stomach. Now it's my turn to punch you in the stomach.
It's like Rock'em Sock'em Robots. And then it's just like, this is insane. Why is nobody stopping us?
Why is no one stopping us? And then it looks over Mikasa, and she's just smiling.
Yeah, just in the background, she's just smiling.
And she's like, this is fine. Which is, I mean, part of it was probably just like, it's a moment of kind of friendly, just joy. Yeah. Even if they're fighting, it's still just like, they're not fighting titans, they're just in a brawl. Yeah. There's no stakes to it.
Exactly.
But I also think part of it was also like, yeah, Aaron's fighting. I want to watch this.
I would not be surprised. But in the midst of all that celebrating, we also get a little bit of interesting character dialogue between Levi and Erwin. Mm-hmm. Because Levi is totally convinced. He asks Erwin, so would you be really willing to sacrifice everything just to find the truth? Would you be even willing for me to let me break your legs?
Yeah, I love Erwin as a character.
Erwin is just so dedicated to his cause.
Exactly. He even said he'd be willing to sacrifice humanity
just to
figure out the truth.
Which is fascinating because he reminds me a lot of a Lovecraftian protagonist in that regard, where much against their better judgment, they do everything they can to try and find the truth. And in doing so, though, they go completely insane, where nobody will actually believe them. This is a little bit more of a hopeful take on that, but at the same time, it does that sort of obsessiveness that kind of reminds me a lot of Lovecraftian works.
Because so Levi's opinion is like, if Erwin goes out into the battlefield, there's a chance he dies, and if Erwin dies, then Levi thinks there's no hope for anyone. Like, Erwin's the last person that can save everyone, really.
Yeah. Just because of his convictions, primarily, I think.
Yeah, well, he's smart, too. He's got a lot of like strategy training and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Another point is that Levi was entrusted with the Titan Serum. Because they're like, oh, well, maybe we should use it on one of our allies.
And we should entrust it to somebody. And then even Levi has that little opinion. It's like, why are you asking me that? It's like, I know you... It's like, why not just order me? Because you know you're going to do it anyways. Again, I love the relationship between him and Erwin. Like, there is a degree of, like, understanding, but also just kind of general snarkiness from Levi.
Yeah, like, Levi will step in line when he's told to, but also I feel like if it came down to it, he would punch Erwin in the face.
Yeah, he respects Erwin, and Erwin respects him. Like, I think they both really respect each other's judgment and skill. And rank notwithstanding, they just respect each other enough to where that doesn't completely factor into their relationship, which is really cool.
Levi's not even, like, the second
No, that
rank.
Hanji is.
Yeah.
like
I
Hanji...
don't think Levi is third.
No, he isn't. Because he doesn't say... Because when he says, if I die, the next would be Hanji, he doesn't say the next is you. He says, and then after that, the next person in line.
I think it's because Levi has to lead his squad.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Levi's a captain, not a commander. Which, again...
Easy to forget.
Yeah.
When you see all the work that Levi puts in.
Yeah, exactly. He's so skilled and so awesome. He was one of my favorite characters from, like, the moment he was introduced. And this just kind of cements that. Just
because you see him show up and immediately
just kill a bunch of Titans. Yeah. It's like, here's this unstoppable badass who's capable of killing these things that, up to this point, we've seen just kill people left and right.
Yeah.
But, yeah, ultimately, Levi agrees with Erwin's judgment, like, even after threatening him and trying to see, like, where his convictions really lie. And then the morning after, they're getting ready to take off. And it is an awesome send-off.
Yeah, like, for once they say, like, this is the first time the Scouts have ever been sent off in a positive light.
Yeah, it's like, have we ever seen a send-off like this? And then Erwin says something to the effect of, no, as long as I've been here, I've never seen this before. This is a first. And Erwin smiles. It's the first time we've ever seen him smile. Like, and it's actually a kind of a breath of fresh air to see that, because immediately, though, he, like, with utter pride, he just holds his arm up in the air, and everybody else and starts cheering, and then all the other commanders and stuff look kind of confused at first, but then they start cheering.
Yeah, it's just Erwin. He's just sitting there. He just goes, ah! Ah! And everyone else goes, ah!
And then he pulls out his sword. And he's like, "This is our final operation to retake Wall Maria. Let's go!" And they all take off, and it's just so cool. And then the ending plays. This was like whiplash that I'd never seen before, because like the outro just started like cutting out, getting all glitchy,
and rewinding.
And like Rex and I were watching this, we're like, "Wait, is that normal?"
No, it's not.
And then
it showed a preview from the next season.
Yeah, this totally was a flash forward. Like
it was Levi being like, "You have no idea what you're talking about," and then Mikasa and Aaron, and Levi was like covered in blood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which, I know what's gonna happen. I know what that's about.
I don't imagine it's anything good.
Well, I mean, being covered in blood hardly is good.
Well, I mean, yeah, he usually kills a bunch of people. Probably Titans in this case, but anyway.
Well, no. If it was Titans, the blood would just evaporate immediately.
Oh, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it. I had almost completely forgotten about that.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all about Attack on Titan Season 3 is over.
Season 3 Part 1.
Yeah, Season 3 Part 1 is over.
They decided to pull like a Fate Zero, Fate Unlimited Blade Works approach, where it's a 2-core show, but they're like splitting the work. Like, so they aired these first 12 episodes. They're taking 6 months off. And so
3 months. Isn't that spring?
No, we're going to be seeing it in April.
Oh. So summer?
We're in fall. You have to remember that the winter season is before that.
Oh.
So we're going to be seeing it in spring 2019.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah, spring 2019.
But yeah, 6 months from now.
Yeah, 6 months. Yeah, I guess this season just started.
Yep. And it's already shaping up to be a pretty cool season. But anyway, on to our regularly scheduled programming.
A certain magical index 3.
Okay. I just want to say that the fights in Index have always been really cool. Like, I always have enjoyed, like, it's sort of like early fights in Bleach. Like, the whole, basically a battle of attrition until you figure out how your opponent works and stuff like that, and then being able to counter it. I always thought that was super cool. Like, and with Toma, this current fight between Toma and Terra, I believe his name was, it just was even cooler, because he's got the magic salt.
Flour.
Oh, it's flour?
Yeah.
I thought it was salt.
No, it's flour.
All right. So the magic flour that is able to cut just about everything, and his power is super weird.
Yeah, it's
precedence is what he calls it.
The power of precedence, which gives him the ability to raise or lower priorities of things. So he could throw a rock on the ground and be like, rock priority higher than ground, and the rock would just go forever.
It is such a weird power, but it was cool to see it happen, and I still don't entirely understand it. But the way he described it as well was kind of cool. It was talking about how Jesus Christ on the cross, like, he was somebody who shouldn't have been killed, but because of like God's intercession, like, made it a sort of like precedence to where it was a necessary thing to happen.
Yeah, he had to die to absolve humanity's original sin.
Yep, and that is and his power manifests as that, sort of just the ability to give precedence to something over another thing. The only problem being, it doesn't focus on, it can't work on more than one target at a time.
And I think he also has to say it vocally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he has to say it, and then, yeah, it works on one thing at a time, which Toma quickly figures out, but not before... I think he's, like, calling Misaka.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
the bomb dropped big time.
He was calling her, and then Terra knocks the phone out of his hand and ends up on the phone. He doesn't realize the phone call's still going. And then on the phone, it's pretty much realized that Toma has amnesia.
Yeah, he lost his memory because of what happened in Season 1.
Yeah.
How his memory essentially just got completely obliterated.
Yep. And before that point, I don't think... There was very few people that knew about it. Like, Index didn't know, Misaka didn't know. Pretty much all the normal people in his life didn't know.
I'm pretty sure that was something that he never really told much of anybody. I think the only person that actually knew 100% was the Heaven Chancellor, the Doctor. Because he...
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah,
that's right.
Because Heaven Chancellor knew about it, but at the same time, Toma's kept it secret at all this time. So seeing how that is going to resolve in the future is going to be really cool, because he's been playing it off really well up to this point. It's like, I'm just business as usual, really.
Maybe it's actually going to be more of a plot point now, because before it really wasn't at all.
That was one of my complaints. Like, his personality and stuff didn't really change when he lost his memory, which... I guess maybe that would be... I guess it's sort of a relief in its own right, but at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah.
Memory, I guess, doesn't necessarily mean equal personality.
Yeah, my thoughts are they probably just... His personality was more or less the same, but it wiped away his record of previous events.
Yeah.
Instead of, like, just wiping away his entire self as a person.
Mm-hmm. So, and then we have... we actually get introduced to more of the members of the Right Seed of God. We get introduced to Aqua.
Akakua. Yeah, it's like ACQUA.
Yeah, but
like what?
In case you hadn't noticed it, it's kind of obvious. All the members of the Right Seed of God are named after the 4 elements. They're the Italian words for the 4 elements. Terra is earth. Aqua is water, obviously. Fiamma, which is somebody who we haven't seen yet, is fire or flame, and then Vento is wind. Vento we got introduced to at the end of season 2.
Yeah.
She's like the creepy piercing and
tons of piercings.
Yeah, and we haven't seen like what the extent of her abilities are yet, which is really cool.
Like smacked a thing and then wind blasts came out of nowhere.
But
we gotta see more Tsuchi Mikado too.
Yeah.
Tsuchi Mikado being a badass fighting off mech suits.
There was one weird part in that, like when he was like one of the mech suits was like chasing him down an alleyway. He just kind of like ducks against the wall and then goes behind it.
The vision is based on movement. Yeah, he like literally just like stood right by it while it ran by. Maybe that was magic.
Maybe
not.
Maybe, but it was just weird to see. It's like, wait, what? How did he do that? That makes no sense.
They like shorted a bunch of them out somehow. I'm not really sure how he did that.
Yeah, his because the fact that he uses magic hurts him, but then at the same time his Esper ability is self-recovery, so they kind of cancel each other out, which is kind of cool. And then we get to see that Academy City just decides we're going to drop Accelerator in.
Not before dropping in the big-ass lava laser of death.
Right?
Yeah, it's all of a sudden just like cuts a big old pentagon around the area.
Yeah.
And then it shows Accelerator, and then the guy was originally like, well, alright, we're gonna start lasering the whole entire area, and then Accelerator pretty much goes up to him saying, no, you're gonna laser that area specifically, and only that area, because I'm a true villain, and true villains don't hurt the innocent. That's what he said. I mean, that's just like...
people just trying to live their ordinary lives.
I'm pretty sure that was just Accelerator posturing, because He doesn't want to look like a good guy.
Yeah.
But on the inside, he doesn't want people to die.
Yeah, he doesn't want a lot. He doesn't want more people than are necessary to die. I think his definitely is more calculated risks and stuff like that. But so do you know what Hot Towel Girl's name actually is?
Yeah, Toru.
What? No, it's Itsuwa.
I think it's her last name is Itsuwa.
Well, maybe. But I didn't know what it was at first, but I looked into it a little bit because it was bothering me, because I just kept thinking of her as Hot Towel Girl.
Yeah.
Because that was her one move, the hot towel, but no, her name is Itsuwa, which...
Yeah, it's Toru Itsuwa.
Yeah, and then I looked into it. Apparently, it's actually based on an actual real-life town in Japan in the Kyushu region called Itsuwa.
Do they have hot towels there?
Maybe. I don't know. Have you been there?
So when Toma got knocked on the ground and she was standing by watching him, I was just expecting her to be like, hot towel?
Oh man. But
are you okay?
But we do get to see another we get to see more of the right seed of God. Aqua just deciding, hey, I'm gonna kill my teammate.
Yeah, because he doesn't believe what Terra does is just. Because Terra tested out his precedence power on a bunch of innocent people, which Terra called them, quote-unquote, heretics.
Yeah.
So, but Aqua was like, well, you're killing a bunch of innocent people. That's unjust. So I'm going to drop this pillar on you.
Yep,
And apparently Terra didn't think of saying skin higher priority than pillar.
I guess you could say it completely caught him by surprise.
So, he did so many, precedence changes so fast during a fight. I feel like he would have the reaction time to do it then.
Maybe. But either way, as far as we know, Terra's dead.
Yeah, he was just bubbling out.
Yeah.
Blood when he was on the ground.
Yeah. This series continues just to be a pretty fun, albeit maybe slightly generic shonen battle show. But
generic in a good way.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to Hiroaka in that regard, where the tropes are it's self-aware enough of the tropes it's presenting.
Yeah, it's shonen battle harem.
Yeah,
more or less.
Although I will say this, it knows its tropes well enough to kind of play around with them a little bit, and this kind of goes in a little bit with Misaka's design, because think about she wears a short skirt, but she always wears shorts underneath that short skirt.
Well, the short skirt is a uniform.
Yeah, but yeah, it's still, she has the presence of mind, and I think this was an intentional thing. It's oh wait, well, a girl who doesn't want guys to see her panties all the time would wear shorts underneath the skirt. That makes sense, but anyway.
Panty topics aside, we're going to move on to the next show.
Alright, and the next show is Banana Fish.
Yeah. Alright,
AG finally does something. He finally does something actually kind of cool. I was not expecting this. We talked a little bit last episode about how, it's okay, is AG finally going to do something? I want AG to actually do something rather than just be Ash's cheerleader. And he did.
Yeah, he broke a window to trick Yetlong from coming in, and then
grabbed a piece of glass and held it to his throat.
Which, clever on AG, but I'm pretty sure at any point Yetlong could have probably flipped him over his shoulder or something and stopped him.
Yeah,
it seemed like this whole thing was Yetlong just letting AG go, more or less.
I think there's a reason to that, though. I think because Sing, we finally figured out his name. Sing, the Shorter's replacement and the new boss of the Chinese street kids, is he thinks that Yetlong is guilty about what happened to Shorter and wants to die as a result of it. Because he kept goading AG into trying to kill him, trying to taunt him. And say, oh, you're not you're willing to let Ash do all the dirty work, but you're not willing to let dirt get on your own hands.
He essentially said that if you don't kill me now, then I'm going to keep coming after Ash, trying to kill him, and even I'll keep coming after you too, because your Ash's one weak spot. Yeah, just as I said, like you said, basically just really trying to convince AG to shoot him.
And Sing is the only person who kind of sees through that, because I don't think that Yetlong is legitimately a bad person. Or he is, but he's nowhere near...
He has a conscience.
Yeah, he's nowhere near on the level of some people like Golzine and stuff like that. Or And I think that's partly due just to the fact that he's just a spiteful asshole. Like, he just wants to overthrow, like, his brothers and stuff like that.
He had a really shitty upbringing, but he's still a person.
Yeah, exactly. We find out a little bit more into how they're trying to convince everybody, which is a complete failure, by the way, of how Ash is dead, fooling literally nobody.
So, they're like, oh, it's a fake. Like, they're doing an autopsy on a fake Ash. So, really looked convincing.
Yeah, how? How? Like,
yeah, we drew Ash, and then, maybe we changed his hair like a millimeter shorter. Because they're like, oh yeah, it was just another kid that looks like Ash. It's like, if I find a person that looks as close to me as that kid looked like Ash, I'd freak the fuck out.
Yeah.
Because it was like a twin, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what they did. I don't know how they
makeup. Like a lot of, like, a makeup and stuff.
I mean, and they kind of explicitly said it too, like, because Charlie and the chief would know, because they've spent a lot of time in morgues and stuff like that, identifying corpses, so if they were actually let into the room, they'd be able to easily spot the differences.
Yeah, that makes sense, actually. It probably was, like, cosmetic tricks of the eye and
stuff,
makeup and stuff like that.
And stuff that, like, couldn't be easily perceivable from a distance, but
through a window. Yeah.
But yeah, it was just kind of, I just thought that was a weird plot point, because meanwhile, Ash is really beneath is really in a subterranean hospital, it seems.
A crazy place. Crazy house. Which, it's actually a lot more tame than I thought it was going to be. I was expecting, like
Outlast shit?
Shit on the walls, people screaming. I was expecting that kind of place.
Yeah, but
yeah, it was actually a clean, nice facility.
I mean, which I guess is what a sane asylums really looked like.
Yeah, more true to life.
But, it turns out that this is actually a facility headed up by the new villain, Dr. Mannerheim, as a way to study and hopefully try and cure violent criminals. It
was really just a facility to develop banana fish, which he calls B1.
Yes, and really a perfected version of it, because the problems with banana fish he saw were the fact that it was that it gave people, like, these violent, crazy tendencies. He wanted to reduce those, but he also wanted to be able to mind control people without it degrading their intelligence, because we see Alexis Dawson, the original manufacturer of banana fish, who accidentally manufactured it, by the way.
Yep, and they gave him too much of it, I assume.
And he was basically trying to freaking do those exercises, try to put the blocks in the right holes.
But he was putting, like, a circle and a square together.
And we actually got to find the other upsetting part. They figured all this out by using Shorter's brain.
Yeah.
Shorter cannot get a fucking break, even when he's dead.
There was like a bunch of brains in jars, and he's like, hey, look at that one.
It's like, that one's Shorter. That one's your good friend.
Yep.
Which makes me wonder, how did they get his brain? It's like, did they have people retrieve the body after Ash lit it on fire?
They were probably just able
to did they already take the brain preemptively? I don't remember having like a surgical scar on his head or anything.
And
now that I think about it, I don't even think
they had a lot of money. They figured it out.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But Golzine got kicked down a peg or two because he got ousted from his position of power with the Corsican Mafia because he fucked up.
He lost a exuberant amount of money because he was just trying to get back at Ash.
Yeah,
more or less. So his personal involvement costed whatever group he's involved with too much money. But
he got replaced with a new guy who ultimately said that, like, we're not going to oust you out completely because we respect what you've done with Banana Fish and stuff like that. We're still letting you on the project. The whole, we'll give you a seat on this council, but you're not being granted the position of master sort of deal. I can't believe I referenced that fucking movie. Ugh. But then Ash decides to put his former prostitute skills to work.
Oh, yes. The Candy Bar song.
Oh, God. Yeah, which... I love how you pointed out, it's like, is every villain in this show gay?
Yeah, every older man villain in this show gets seduced by Ash.
Which I think the majority of them were just legitimately like, wait, what the fuck is happening?
No,
what is he
I'm
doing?
convinced that they're entirely all gay. Everyone's gay.
All right, but one of them decides, okay, I'm gonna see what's up. But then Ash actually manages to successfully seduce him. But then Ash kills him to the surprise of literally nobody.
Come over here, I'll send you to heaven in 5 minutes.
Which, to his credit, yes, he does.
And it's just like, way to go, Ash, making a pun before you murder somebody.
Yeah, that's like totally like 80s action movie puns. Yeah. Like, you're fired.
Speaking of like stuff like that, so I think it's about twice now where either Yutlong or Sing shows up and it's like and it starts playing like Chinese music as soon as they show up.
Because oh my god, that's right, because I'd forgotten about that part, because AG is on the run trying to find Ash. He almost gets like kidnapped by a couple guys on the street, probably getting ready to traffic him or something. But then Sing shows up, saves him. AG passes out, but then shows up later at like Sing's place, and then cue the Chinese guitar.
Chinese music intensifies.
Yeah, that never ceases to make me laugh. It's it's too funny. One other last thing about Sing. I looked into it a little bit. He's only 14. He's 14, and I thought that was just really crazy because, like,
he's 14 and now the leader of a gang.
Yeah, right? I mean, like, I just was like, oh, he's just a little dude. No, he's literally 14 years old, and he's the head of the gang.
I like his little his chain kunai.
Yeah,
or knife or whatever.
Yeah, that is really cool. Like, because he managed to just stick one of the guys in the head with it.
Yeah, I thought
he didn't manage to cut deep or anything.
No, I almost thought he like stuck him in the temple for a second.
Yeah, I thought he.
Well, he was dead.
But no, it just was.
It just stabbed him in the side of the head.
It was apparently just deep enough to just say, "Ow, that fucking hurt."
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much all that happened. The episode ended with Ash trying to make his escape after he killed the guy.
But I guess the last important thing to bring up is the reason why Ash is brought here in the first place. Because of his IQ being so high, his brain being so like almost like a perfect specimen. Mm-hmm. Mannerheim wants to study it so that he can perfect B1 and actually use it to basically brainwash scientists without degrading their intelligence, stuff like that.
Also, I forgot to mention that Golzine ends up rescuing Ash.
Does he?
Yeah, because
that's right.
They're about to operate on him, about to cut into his head.
Yeah, and then he intrudes and stops the operation. That's right. Yeah. But then he shows up in his room later and says, well, and basically grabs him by the collar and says, well, it's like, do you still have the nerve to try and glare at me like that? Why don't you try and kill me?
There was an interesting line where Golzine, he grabbed him by the shirt and picked him up and said, like, stand up, keep fighting, but don't forget, I'm going to keep chasing you. So it almost seems like Golzine wants to keep playing this game with Ash. He doesn't want Ash to die, because then that would be unsatisfying to him, I guess?
I think part of it is he doesn't want to lose that control over him. I think that's ultimately what it is. It's a power game. Like, he ultimately sees him as his property and wants to basically be the one who says, no, I'm going to be the one to kill him. I'm going to be the one to make sure that I'm the one that catches him out. This was a really good episode. It's going to be weird seeing like a weakened Ash trying to gunfight his way through stuff again.
Alright, so next up we have Goblin Slayer, which is, at this point, it's just a D&D campaign.
Yeah. So, an elf, a dwarf, a lizard man all walk into a guild hall. They meet up with Goblin Slayer and they go on an epic adventure. Just kidding, they go and kill goblins. What else the fuck do you expect?
Yeah, so, they all show up asking around for
Orkvolg, Beard Cutter, and then...
Why Beard Cutter?
I don't know, because maybe he just bastardized, like, the translation or something. Maybe,
or, like, he's strong, and strong people cut off dwarf beards, so he's a beard cutter.
I don't know, but, and then... And then the lizard man actually proves to be, like, the only one who knows what he's really called.
The smartest guy in the group.
Yeah. But yeah, this is basically just a D&D campaign. And if you didn't believe that, then just watch the intro of this episode. It's like the gods of light and darkness. They determine who would be like the rulers of the universe by throwing dice.
Yeah, they rolled dice over and over and over again until they were exhausted.
And just to cement that point, it showed them like rolling a bunch of different D&D ass dice. Like, you see D20s and shit going across the table. I don't expect this to go into, like, some D&D, like, meta sort of story.
I'm kind of expecting it.
Do you really?
I'm kind of expecting at the end, you just, like...
Well, that was a fun campaign.
It shows a table, and then the guy's like, yes, I am the Goblin Slayer.
That'd be funny. I personally hope it doesn't go that route.
Yeah, I also hope. Maybe like a after credits scene at the end or something, that'd be cool.
But, just seeing... I personally just want a good, like, dark fantasy story that doesn't necessarily have to be, like, some meta shit. But, we get introduced to the new adventuring party, which, again, we get a little bit more insight into Goblin Slayer's belief system. Like, because, sure, he's only interested in killing goblins, it seems, because even the party acknowledges that, there were demons getting ready to attack the world, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
The whole world is at danger here. It's like, yes, while the demons are getting ready to destroy the world, the goblins are still going to be trying to destroy villages. Yeah, the elf just gets mad at him for not wanting to save the world, and then they're like, well, we're really here to ask you to slay goblins. He's like, I'm in. Yeah, it's just, I'm in. I mean, for me, it is such a simple worldview, but it's one that makes a degree of sense, because he doesn't necessarily think of the big picture all the time, but he also sees the value in trying to save what's closest to him, like the small things. Like, he wants to protect villages and stuff like that, because it just makes sense. You can't really... In his view, like, the world may not matter so much... Like, but trying to save, like, individual villages and stuff, to him, that is what matters. Yeah, the best defense is a good offense, so he's just going to go kill goblins to preemptively save people. Yeah, and I don't even remember, like, wasn't there, like, some talk about how the demons were trying to amass, like, a plan, so they were trying to use, like, an army of goblins or some shit? There's a demon army, and they're amassing, and also the goblins just are also amassing. I'm not sure if they correlated there with the demon army. But they decided that they needed to stop the goblins. Yeah. But then we just get a lot of, like, really... This felt like more just, like, kind of introduction of the characters and ultimately, like, setting forth what seems to be the goal of this thing. Just inadvertently maybe preventing the destruction of the world just by mostly killing a shit ton of goblins. Yeah, we got a cool little campfire scene with everybody kind of just chilling out, and I want to point out that the elf is about as elf as an elf can get. Yeah, the dwarf is about as dwarf as a dwarf. I mean, I get what you're saying, but yeah, she looks almost exactly like the elf, a little bit older, but she looks like the elf from the game Dragon's Crown. Yeah. Like, it's just like that short little leather cape. She's a ranger. Yeah. She has blonde hair. It's just like, that's about as D&D as an elf can be. She's kind of prissy and stuck up, but also like still kind of a kid. Like, despite the fact that she's like 2,000 years old or something. 200, heck. She's old. Yeah. And the dwarf is just a short, burly man with a big beard, and he likes to drink alcohol. Yeah. He's very. And then the lizard man is like a kind of calm, sagely lizard guy. Which even which is hilarious, because the guild receptionist points out, is like, okay, this is such a weird combination of people, because you have an elf like partnered up with her ancestral enemy, a dwarf, and then you have a lizard man. Which, who sees lizard men? It's just a D&D party. It is, because D&D parties are almost always like ragtag. Yeah, like ragtag. What the hell? Like, how the hell did this party get together? Also, spells have uses per day, which is another D&D thing. Yeah, spells have uses per day. There's scrolls, which we got to see a big-tittied sorceress to talk about scrolls. Yeah, she shows up, and like she talks with Priestess. Yeah, a little bit about Goblin Slayer. I'm assuming she was like a previous partner of him, probably. Maybe. Then decided to move on to a party of her own. Yeah, either that, or he just, or he decided to cut ties with her. But he doesn't really seem like he takes the initiative. He'll take help when he can get it, but also, if they decide to leave, that's on them. He doesn't care one way or the other. He's not gonna stop anybody. Yeah. So the campfire scene, it was really chill. We got to see, like, everyone kind of share food with each other, share their own food. The dwarf said one of the best insults towards the elf, I think, and I'd written this down. It's like a rabbit like you who only eats fruits and vegetables would never understand bliss like this.
There's so much racism in this episode of just the dwarf and the elf.
Just kind of going back and forth and making jabs at each other.
He keeps calling the elf like dagger ear, something like that.
Long ears.
Long ear, yeah.
Long ears, and then it's hilarious. And then he also says something. He also insults her chest size, like your chest is flat and your heart is cold, or something like that.
Yeah, they have like that. What was that bread in Lord of the Rings?
Lamb lost bread.
Lamb lost bread. Yeah, it looked almost exactly like lamb lost bread. Which was an elven thing.
Yeah, I just said that's actually what I said. Is like, oh, hi, lamb lost bread.
Yeah, and then they had cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently nobody had... Well, the lizard man had never had cheese before.
His people hunt beasts. They do not breed them.
Which as soon as he ate the cheese, and he's just like, oh, it's so delicious. I was like, that's me whenever I eat cheese.
And then they... the dwarf, obviously, he pulls out the booze, and he says, here, everybody take a drink. The elf takes a drink, and almost immediately gets drunk.
He gets drunk off one drink.
Yeah, and then the Goblin Slayer doesn't even bother to take off his helmet.
Yeah.
He just drinks it.
He just pulls it up to his face and just drinks it. I'm like, okay, does he tip it through his slits in his...
And then all the dwarf said is like, hey, that a kid.
Yeah.
And then they have a little talk about, like, where they think goblins came from. Which the human priestess girl says something to the effect of, "Oh, they're made from humanity's mistakes. Because if we tell children that if they make mistakes, if they're bad, the goblins are going to come and take them away." And I don't remember what the dwarf or the lizard man said, but but Goblin Slayer ultimately says he believes they came from the moon.
Mm-hmm. The jealous.
Yeah, because there's nothing in. Again, it was the green moon, because the two moons in the sky, one's red and kind of small, the other one is green and huge, which also kind of makes sense because goblins are green with envy.
Yeah.
I hadn't noticed that at first, but...
I also want to point out that I'm pretty sure it was because he drank a bunch, but he was a lot more talkative.
That's a good point. Like, he's actually, like, engaging with people. Like, it seems like this is the first time he's ever really let his guard down around anybody, or at least in a very long time.
Yeah, he drank a lot, started talking about the goblin, and then just fell asleep.
Yeah, he just fell asleep, just sitting up.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, he's asleep. Well, and then they, I think the elf or the priestess just puts a blanket on him. It's like, okay, who's taking first watch?
Yeah, so the first one I thought, I was like, who's taking first watch? And they're like, okay, I'm taking first watch. I was like, D&D.
Yeah, this episode could have gotten more D&D if it tried. Like,
yeah, but the episode ends with the elf shooting an arrow and doing some crazy arrow magic to make it fly through one goblin's head, another goblin's head, and into the dog's mouth.
And then it made the most...
Yeah, just sad dog noise. It's like, oh.
And then they all step in, getting ready to drop the fucking the
hottest album of 2018.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was just such a good wallpaper, actually.
It would be. It just looked super... It looked super cool. Mm-hmm. Can't really talk about... I'm really enjoying this show, and I think a lot of people also are really enjoying it. I think it's, third most popular thing of the season this year.
Yeah, it's pretty popular.
Yeah, we can't necessarily talk about it without addressing some of the controversy. Yeah, people are kind of upset about this for understandable reasons. This show isn't going to be for everybody. I think,
like all the gore and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I personally don't have necessarily a problem with it. Like, I recognize some people might find it disturbing. It isn't going to be for everybody.
If you find it disturbing, don't watch it.
Exactly.
Don't make a SJW post about it online about how you're so offended by it. Nobody cares.
I'm enjoying the show. I have the utmost faith that Studio White Fox is going to do something really cool with it. I think it's edgy, but edgy just seems like it's a buzzword these days. Like, people say it and it's like, oh, it's edgy. That must automatically mean it's bad, right?
Yeah.
No.
It's not. It's dark and
gory.
Yeah.
But I'm having a lot of fun with it. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing how this ragtag group of adventurers is going to inadvertently save the world.
Yeah.
So, Golden Kamuy 2. Did you guys want to see the freaking minecart levels from Donkey Kong Country? Because
as soon as I got in the minecarts, I was just thinking like, do 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 do. There's even 2 people in each minecart.
Yeah. Man, this episode, quite a bit happened, and it was like a lot of so much stuff happened, and I haven't really completely gotten the grasp of like all who the characters are. But the most important ones to remember are Tsurumi, Edogai, the taxidermist, and then obviously Sugimoto, and everyone. Sugimoto, Ashirpa, and his group. But Edogai is working on the fake skins to try and throw off the rest of the treasure hunters.
But he's not. Recently, he was working on a creepy Tsurumi doll.
Oh God, it's so creepy.
Yeah. And he just throws a fit more like, I want to see Tsurumi. And they're like, maybe you should not be wasting your time on this.
But it is revealed he has managed to complete 6 fake skins, which is definitely more than enough to throw off any prospective treasure hunters. But of course, this plan isn't completely foolproof when the people that you're trying to throw off find out that the fake skins are in fact in circulation.
Hijikata, the old man, learns about all this, and then he sends Ogata to go, and then Ogata's like sitting up on the hill, and he just manages to kill one of them.
Oh yeah, Ogata's the sniper, right?
Yeah, Ogata's the guy with like the eye makeup. It looks like he's wearing eye makeup.
Oh yeah, that's right. Kind of, and has a hairstyle similar to Maze Hughes from Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, kind of reminds me a little bit of Hughes, but yeah, without dying. He
shoots Mayama, one of the Tsurumi's undermen.
Yeah.
Just kills him in one shot, but Edogai manages to like figure out what's going on, and then he puts on a bear. So I think he puts on all the skins, and then over that he puts on like a bear outfit.
Yeah,
I'm assuming he's like a taxidermy bear, probably that
I imagine
pulled the stuffing out of.
This is it's one of the first bears in this series that doesn't look like terrible CG. But the weird thing is, just seeing a freaking polar bear or just a white bear, I guess, just running through the middle of the freaking street. Just, it's like, it's like, okay, you managed to slip away from those guys because it's like, oh, it's just a stuffed bear, but then why not take it off afterwards?
It's because you're hiding the skins.
Still, I mean, sure.
He took it off eventually, right?
I don't think so, because he was like, people were saying, because they were asking, hey, have you seen a white bear? Yeah, I just saw a white bear run that way.
He wasn't in that outfit on the minecart scene.
Okay, maybe he wasn't.
So he took it off at some point.
But still, most of it was just a huge chase scene. It was like the Scooby-Doo music.
It was like a chase scene from like a bunch of different parts.
Mm-hmm.
After Ogata kills Mayama, I don't remember. Mayama's other friend shows back up to look for, because he's like, oh, I forgot my wallet when he was trying to go to the bath.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And he comes back, and then he sees Mayama dead on the ground, and he ends up. Does Edogai end up killing him? No, he doesn't end up killing him too. He ends up. The other guy ends up getting away eventually after Ogata and him fight for a little bit, because he catches his pistol with his or his rifle with his hand and ends up pulling it out of his hands. They tussle for a bit, and then he gets away, and then main character Sugimoto and Shiraishi show up, which have we seen before? Shiraishi and Hijikata
they have a relationship. He's been funneling him information pretty much, basically serving as a double agent. And the whole time, Shiraishi's like dripping bullets, like just wondering, oh god, it's like what's Sugimoto going to do if they find out that I've been slipping him information? But that doesn't come to be, really.
Yeah. So then, they eventually get to the point where Sugimoto and Shiraishi are chasing Edogai and the other one is Tsurumi's underlings. And it was just a minecart chase scene.
And then eventually, because there's a gas leak, there's a big-ass explosion.
Yeah, I guess the whole mine was going to explode. The only way to cut that off is to cut off all the oxygen to the mine.
Yeah.
So the explosions don't get any oxygen. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, Sugimoto, Shiraishi, and the other two were trapped as well.
Yep. But Shiraishi almost immediately passes out, but Sugimoto, man, he's basically just does his whole "I'm the immortal Sugimoto" bit again. And
I will not die here.
Yeah, which again, you got to admire this guy's tenacity.
Yeah, I mean that's 90% of his character's tenacity.
Which again, he's such a cool character though, because just the fact how determined he is, and just the determination in combination with just dumb luck on occasion.
Yeah, he's also a goofball.
Yeah, he is, and but ultimately, what's the big guy's name?
Ushiyama.
Ushiyama manages to pull them both out.
Otherwise
of the line.
known as Dick Sensei.
Yeah, Dick Sensei. That's right, because the Sherpa actually says Dick Sensei.
Yeah, you're alive.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he ends up saving Sugimoto and Shiraishi, and then Sugimoto and Hijikata end up coming to
basically a ceasefire.
Yeah. Not an alliance, but just a temporary truce.
Because they recognize that yes, there are fake skins in circulation. Mm. We have no way of determining which ones are real and which ones are fake, though, at the moment.
And now we know, near the end of the episode, the guy got the skins to Tsurumi.
Yep, they got him to Tsurumi, and Tsurumi is the only one that knows how to tell the fake ones.
Oh yeah, the iron.
Yeah, the iron. By touching the fake skins with iron, it turns them black, which is basically the only way to determine if they're fake or not. Mm-hmm. Which again is really cool.
Oh, and the guy died. Also.
Yeah, and a guy got crushed. He got crushed by a bunch of rocks after the explosion. But it was actually kind of interesting. You pointed this out, that it's interesting that Tsurumi actually was seemingly legitimately sad.
Yeah, he respected Edo guy, and he was like, well, you died giving me this information, so I'll make sure it doesn't go to waste. Mm-hmm. It gives a little more clarity into Tsurumi's character. He's an asshole, mm-hmm. and he'll do whatever he wants to get what he wants. Mm-hmm. And but also he still has kind of
a bit of a conscience,
and a conscience, yeah.
He has people that he can respect and even try. And respect, even if he does try to use them in some way, shape, or form. He still respected Edo Guy at the end, I think, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. But so we know that now there are going to be up to 6 skins that are going to be circulating around that are fake.
But the catch is, the other groups only think there are 5. There's one that they don't know about. So that's probably going to be a plot point later, which that's going to be really cool because, and any good treasure hunt, where multiple groups are all trying to find the same thing, yeah, as much misinformation and stuff as you can throw out there, just trying to get one leg up on the other groups, you need as much as you can get. It's always cool seeing them duke that kind of stuff out.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's it for Golden Kamuy 2 so far. I'm having a lot of fun with this series so far.
Yeah, a lot less CG.
Yeah, we haven't seen any CG bears so far. Mm.
So, next up, we have IRODUKU, The World in Colors, which, Culture Festival episode.
Yep, Culture Festival.
Every high school anime needs one.
Yep, and I think that the episode kind of starts with a little bit of a nice little, I guess you could call it almost a joke, when she's carrying her book bag, and she's like, man, why did people have to carry stuff that's this heavy?
Because the future.
Yeah, she's from the future and probably has never had to carry stuff like
Where's
that.
Where's my Super Future tablet?
Yeah, my Super Future tablet with all my books and stuff. But yeah, we get to see that. We get to see a little bit of that, and we get a little bit more insight into Hitomi's condition, I guess. Because she steps into the photography arts club, and we confirmed something that we had thought before, that she was still able to see Aoi's drawing in color.
Yeah, it was just chilling on the wall.
Yeah, it was just chilling on the wall, and she kind of saw it and smiled.
It's weird because it was specifically his drawing. There were also other drawings, but she only sees his drawings in color.
Which makes me wonder why that is. I'm curious to see how that pans out in the future.
Magic.
Magic. But,
speaking of magic, she walked in on her...
Her grandma,
great-grandma, cooking magic on the stove.
Just cooking magic on the stove.
And apparently that's what she was like, oh yeah, like scrambling eggs almost, but she was cooking sand, I guess. Yeah. And then she was like, bibbity bobbity bam, and then it turned blue.
Yeah, it was a lot of... That was a really cool...
I like it. I like it's kind of grounded a little bit. It's like, it's magic, but it's also kind of science.
Yeah, it is. It's really fascinating. I guess if you want to try and mass market magic and stuff like that, then yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, you make it so the everyman can use it.
Exactly. And then they decide... And then she decides, I want to get better at magic because of what Aoi had said to her. So she asks, "Hey, can you teach me how to be better at magic?" It's like, "Okay, levitate that cup." She isn't able to do it at first. It's like, "Here, take this Pocky."
It's Wingardium Leviosa.
Yeah, just here, take this Pocky. Use it as a magic. Use it as a magic wand.
But she's able to do it, and then she eats the Pocky, and a little magic comes out of it. And I was like, "No, what if that tastes any different? What if it tastes like magic?"
Wonder what does magic even taste like?
Pocky, I guess.
Maybe, but yeah, we get to see more of the photography arts club, as they call themselves.
The zombie nun recruitment plan.
Oh my god!
Yeah, because they're like, "Oh, we don't stand out, so we gotta stand out somehow."
And then one of them shows up, and he's like, "Hey, you're a couple first years." Like, "Oh, a zombie!"
Yeah.
And it's like, "Hey, we're having a demonstration later. Do you want to see it?" And
yeah, they get a bunch of people for it.
Yeah, they got a bunch of people, and they ask Hitomi to basically perform some magic and walk across water.
Well, originally it was Kurumi who was supposed to be the model, but Sho, the guy who's dressed up as like a zombie, the club leader, had to go off to take pictures of some other club that was ahead of schedule or something like that. Oh,
that's right. Yes.
So Kurumi had to step in as manager, and then they ended up getting Hitomi to be a model, who ended up agreeing after Aoi stepped in to talk about it. Because, Aoi's so cute! Ooh.
And so they ask her to grab a bottle of magic from this little thing, and says, "Yes, don't forget, it's the purple one."
Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't tell him.
Yeah.
She's colorblind.
No, she didn't. In fact, that's something that's revealed later. The only person who legitimately knows she's colorblind is Aoi at the moment.
Yeah. They're like, grab the bottle with no label. But there was 2 bottles with no labels.
And then they were thinking about which is weird because the magic starts manifesting in ways they weren't expecting it to. For one, she was able to walk across the water when the magic she used shouldn't have allowed her to do that, apparently. And it also made it start snowing and other stuff they hadn't really planned for.
Yeah, I think
which probably means there's some latent power or something in that Aoi isn't aware of.
Yeah, well, she comes from
a line of mages.
Hitomi, yeah. She comes from a line of mages, so she's probably got pretty strong latent magical abilities. So I'm assuming the powder was probably just snow. That was snow magic powder.
Yeah.
And then since she thought she was going to walk on the water, she kind of just did it without thinking, probably.
Yeah.
She just did the magic to do that. But then when she got distracted...
She immediately falls into the water.
Yeah, when she started thinking about it, they're like, "That's not the right magic." And she's like, "Oh, guess I'm gonna Wile E. Coyote now."
Yeah, it's sort of like it is sort of like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy had the trick to flying. You have to throw yourself at the ground and miss. So the only way so basically the trick to that is just continuously be distracted.
Yeah. Well, it's the only thing she was missing is turning around, holding up a sign saying "Yipes" or something, and then falling into the pool.
Yeah.
Because the Wile E. Coyote doesn't fall until he realizes he's not on the ground anymore.
Yeah, that's actually really funny.
Acme magic.
And then yeah, they Aoi and her have a discussion about her color blindness and how he's officially the only person who knows, and he could kind of tell because she picked the wrong color, and B, because of the way that she had painted something.
Oh yeah, she made a surprisingly good painting.
But it was sort of abstract and bizarre looking, though.
But it was still crazy good. She's like, "I've never drawn a picture before. Suddenly I can perfectly draw rabbits."
Yeah, it was a really good picture, but it was just such a bizarre use of color, which that was something that caught Aoi's eye, and he says, and that's what made him think that something might be off about her vision. Which he was right. And then what's really cool is that when she ultimately says, "Yes, I'm going to join the club," Aoi brings up monochromatic pictures, and how one of the club members almost exclusively takes photos in monochrome. And he says that's even something Aoi could do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool how encouraging he is towards her and is actually trying to get her to come out of her shell a little bit.
Yeah, it's a nice relationship.
The only problem I kind of have with that prospective relationship is the fact this better not turn into some like Futurama ass shit where Fry became his own grandpa. Like she becomes her own grandmother somehow.
Dude, the nasty and the pasty.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, I was thinking it'd be really weird if she ends up getting in a romantic relationship with him, decides to go back to the future, and then he'll be like super old.
Mm. Yeah.
While she is not super old. Either that, or she's just gonna decide to stay here.
Yeah.
Permanently.
Makes me wonder what's gonna happen, because we actually got introduced to the secondary main character of the show, as far as I'm aware of, Kohaku.
Yeah, she was on a boat.
Yeah, she's on a boat.
Probably gonna be back next episode, I assume.
I imagine so.
I hope so, because she sounds like a fun character.
Yeah, I mean, because if she's still as spry as she was when she was an old lady, I'm going to send you back to the past now, grandchild.
Yeah, we got explanations earlier from the principal who was saying, like, she blew up shit by using magic. It just sounds like fun, and also a bad influence for Hitomi.
Or a good influence.
A bad good influence.
Yes, exactly. Last thing I personally had, so Hitomi's hair color is slightly... You pointed out how it's violet, but I said that it's kind of like faded almost. Mm-hmm. Like, I wonder if that's supposed to be like an intentional character design to indicate her condition or something.
Yeah, it's how she can't see color, so a color in our hair is fading away.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we'd have to see like a childhood picture of her, see if maybe it's a lot more purple when she was a kid.
Maybe, because we still don't know exactly what caused her to lose her ability to see color. Like, maybe it was because she didn't use magic. But,
maybe.
Like, I don't know. But I think the show, A, looks really pretty, and B, it just is going to be like a feel-good type show. So, Anyway.
What's next?
Next up is JoJo Golden Wind.
Yeah.
Alright, the initiation ritual begins.
Ugh, God, the Pulpo.
Pulpo is fucking terrifying.
So, Bucciarati introduces he tells Giorno about Passione, and then introduces him to Pulpo, which is just this giant meatball of a man that has tiny arms and legs.
Tiny arms and legs, a huge pointed nose, like black kind of sunken in eyes. He looks like he doesn't belong in JoJo's. And JoJo's had some crazy ass character designs, but this looks like so out of place. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, he looks like an X-Men or something.
He looks like he just doesn't belong in the series. But whatever. But he's basically supposed to be serving as the capo who's going to determine whether or not Giorno gets into Passione or not.
Which, based on what we saw, I'm assuming he's in prison as a formality.
Mm.
Like, they put him in there because, like, maybe he did something and they're like, okay, we have to put you in prison for now. Mm-hmm. You can get out later, but for now we're just going to put you in here. Because, like, it's happened before in real life. Like, you just put a guy in prison because the law says you have to, but then you just give him all this stuff anyways while he's in prison.
Yeah.
Because he had, like, a
guns
gun
and stuff.
He had wine. He had a TV.
Like, he has connections. Like, he probably had people who, like, tipped off some of, like, the prison guards or stuff like that, or bribed them, allowed them to, like, smuggle stuff in. Like, we've seen that kind of stuff happen in, like, Goodfellas and stuff like that. Which, here's the only thing I'm going to say about Golden Wind so far. It's like, have you seen a gangster movie before? Good. Then you know what the general plot points are going to be for this rest of the series.
Yeah, I really like that it's actually a mafia.
Yeah.
They even have, like, the mafia structure and everything.
Like, yeah, they're, like, capos, for instance. Mm-hmm. But, the interesting thing, like, they were like, him and Giorno were talking, and I like how I was able to, like, basically call out, like, it's like, oh, do you know what's really important for somebody in our organization? I was just like, oh, loyalty. It's like, it's trust. I'm like, close enough.
It's a mafia. It's all about trust.
It's all about trust. And it's like, here's a trust exercise. I'm going to give you this lighter. It's got plenty of fluid in it to, like, be lit for 24 hours. All you have to do is make sure that you keep it lit for 24 hours. And we get to see a lot of, like, Giorno's cleverness here, because he does seem like a really clever protagonist.
And his not passion, determination. Mm. So, like, when he's walking out of the jail cell, he has to hide the lighter in his hands, but he doesn't want to let it go out. Mm-hmm. So he just holds his hand on the lit lighter, and you see smoke coming up as it's burning his hand, which that wasn't really addressed, but
yeah, that wasn't. It
was just slowly like burning his hand,
and then
because a lit lighter, if you hold a flame against your hand, you'll probably burn a hole in your hand eventually.
Yeah, it's gonna be really painful.
Yeah.
But
then he like turned it into a flower, I think.
And the police officer lady was just like, "Flower, huh? Okay, I guess I'll let you take that out."
That's an exception, even though we laid the rules out clearly before. It's fine. It's a flower.
Like, what possible harm is a flower going to do? Even though, it might be poison or something like that, but who cares? But which kind of does give a little bit more credence to the whole, he's probably just in there as a formality sort of thing.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. So he manages to try, he tries to, like, go back home. We get to see a little bit more of his creativity because, he takes a bite out of bread and then just sticks the lighter into the freaking bread. It's like, okay, that'll prevent it from, like, falling over or anything like that.
And he, like, covers it, like, surrounds it by books.
Yeah. And, so that wind and stuff won't get it. But, Koichi has to come in and fucking ruin everything.
I mean, it's, like, he's looking for his stolen luggage.
Well, yeah, and his passport. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that as a bad thing. Like, I totally get it, but from Giorno's point of view, you're fucking everything up, Koichi.
Maybe Giorno shouldn't have been a fucking asshole that stole people's luggage.
And I do want to say that I do like the fact that Giorno actually admitted, it's like, yeah, I was going to find him eventually and actually give him back his passport.
Mm-hmm, yeah, because I can't sell his passport, so I might as well give it back to him. He's probably just going to, like, turn it into a something and then make it fly over to him, and then he would just like show up on the ground. Something like that. But yeah, the whole honorable thief thing. Yeah.
But then Giorno, like, after, like, basically managing to dodge Koichi's efforts, decides, it's not safe here. I'm gonna go out on the street, even though that's even more unsafe. Water, of course, gets splashed on him and dims the lighter.
Yeah, the old man just, like, dumps out a bucket of water and puts out the lighter.
Mm-hmm.
And the old man's like, oh, well, it's fine. You can just hit the button and turn it back on. Mm-hmm. He turns it back on, and then we get introduced to what's probably Pulpo's stand.
Yeah, which makes me wonder if the whole keeping the lighter lit thing was just a red herring. Because think about what his stand does. His stand summons a thing that has the powers of the freaking Yuyaba's arrow, I think. I think her name was Yuyaba. Like, we have the ability to draw stands out of people.
Yeah, is either draw stands out of people or kill them.
Mm-hmm. There is no in between. So
he pulled his stand pulled the old man's soul out,
mm-hmm.
and then shot an arrow through his head. And then there was like, well, I guess you don't have the power to be a stand user. You're dead now. You
don't have the power to join our organization. How about you? Because you also helped with the light. You also helped lit the lighter, right?
Yeah. You lit the lighter. You have two paths before you.
Yeah.
And you see him charge at Giorno, and that's where it cuts out.
Yeah, to be continued. And then the stupid outro. I'm not going to get over that.
I missed the whole thing from Stardust Crusaders where, like, something dramatic would happen, and you just hear...
That wasn't Stardust. That was Phantom Blood and Battle Tendency.
Was it?
Yeah, because Roundabout was in the first season.
Okay.
That was in.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, my bad. But yeah, I missed that. That was such a good, like, whenever you hear that, like that little guitar riff start being,
you just know that shit just went down, or
yeah,
was about to go
happen.
Down. But yeah, I legitimately think that Pulpo was just using the whole keep the lighter lit as a red herring because people in the mafia typically aren't particularly trustworthy, or there is a matter of sort of they're criminals.
You think there's an underlying test there?
I think so. Like,
yeah,
I think he knew that it was impossible for somebody to keep the lighter lit for 24 hours, so they'd obviously try to relight it, and it would summon his stand that he'd do the whole arrow thing, and they would either die or they'd be stand users. So
yeah, or they'd be able to defend themselves because they're a stand user.
Yeah, which is interesting because how's Giorno going to get out of this? Because he has made it a point. He does not want Pulpo to realize that he's a stand user.
He might just have to.
Yeah,
he's probably going to have to use a stand to not die.
Like, and he'll probably have to play it off like, oh yeah, the arrow like lines, like, oh yeah, the arrow stabbed me or something like that, and I have this crazy power. I imagine that's gotta be where it's gonna go, because it's, either way, Golden Wind, aside from its outro, it's shaping up to be a lot of fun. It's a gangster movie, pretty much. It's a gangster movie with superpowers.
Yep. So that's it for JoJo. What's next?
Next up is Karakuri Circus. All right. So a little bit of a background. I looked into the studio that's producing it this season, Studio Volm. They've only worked on 3 series beforehand: Ushio and Tora, Idol Incidents, and then now Karakuri Circus. But the only difference being is that this is the first show that they are producing by themselves. The other 2 were co-animated by Studio Mappa, which is working on Banana Fish and stuff like that.
And Zombieland Saga.
Yeah. But the other interesting thing is that this series, I didn't know beforehand, was actually also written by the same guy who wrote Ushio and Tora. And this is actually a series that started back in 1997, I want to say, 1996-97.
It's a manga, right?
Yeah, Karakuri Circus was a manga from 96. But
definitely feels that way.
Yeah, just like the art style and kind of like, and themes and stuff like that. But anyway, so that was a little bit of background information out of the way. We kind of get back to the fight between Ashiana, that's this other creepy puppet master guy who controlled a Puccinelli, I believe the name of his puppet.
Pulcinella?
Pulcinella, yes.
Or probably Pulcinella.
I will say that fight was kind of anticlimactic.
Yeah, it was
because Shirogane and Arlequin are just so apparently overpowered. Like, it's just such a huge gap in power difference.
Yeah, because every scene we've seen Arlequin in has just been Arlequin tearing up other puppets.
Yeah.
This scene wasn't any different. It was the other puppet, like, fighting a little bit, and then Arlequin just becomes a tornado of death.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the puppet designs are all really cool in this, by the way. But yeah, Arlequin is just a ridiculously overpowered machine, which makes sense because the CEO of Saga, Masaru's dad, has pointed out that, like, I think said in a flashback that it was supposed to be like his greatest creation or something like that, or his grandfather's greatest creation.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that Arlequin is ridiculously overpowered, but I don't know. Like, if the series is going to keep being interesting, Arlequin's obviously going to have weaknesses.
Yeah, or stronger puppets.
Or alternatively, we'll see this Shirogane having weaknesses, which we kind of saw a little bit of that in this episode. While she was busy trying to fight the puppet, a bunch of other guys decided to come in and try and kidnap Masaru from behind her. To which Narumi just quickly shows up and beats the shit out of him.
Yeah. It's like, as soon as I saw that Narumi wasn't on screen anymore,
it's like, he's not there right now.
He's just going to show up and punch everybody. Yeah.
That's exactly what he did. He just beat the shit out of him.
So yeah, they beat up the thugs, and they just let the thugs go, I guess.
Yeah.
But we learned that Narumi has Zonafa syndrome, which I don't know if it's a real thing or not.
It sounds like a bunch of hand-wavy bullshit science. Because the way they describe it, like, is like people have a sympathetic and a parasympathetic nervous response, but in Narumi's case, his parasympathetic nerves are kind of take precedence over his sympathetic nerves.
Yeah, okay, it's not a real thing.
Okay. I didn't think so.
Yeah, it's like, essentially, the way they describe it sounds like it could be real. At least how the doctor describes it. It's like, if people around you are stressed out, that causes your nerves to seize up and your throat closes up. So it makes it harder to breathe.
Which, again, gives it a little bit more clemency, but I also was hearing this and was like, okay, this is like freaking bullshit science.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Which is fine, like, especially considering they're kind of playing it up for comedy anyway.
It's believable bullshit science.
Yeah, exactly, which I think is fine. But then Narumi starts seizing up, and he just runs out onto the street and scaring the ever-loving shit out of people.
I'm gonna go make people laugh, and Masaru's like, oh, we have to go after him, and then fucking Shirogane is like, leave him. Don't go after him. It's like, He's kind of choking to death.
Yeah, Shirogane is kind of a cold, heartless bitch. Yeah. I wonder if she's a puppet.
Maybe.
Like, I wonder if she's actually, like, a living puppet.
I still want Masaru to be a puppet.
Do you want Masaru to be a puppet?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be or maybe there's multiple puppet people.
Maybe.
I don't know. But they actually had a really funny, like Narumi's just scaring the shit out of people in a convenience store. Shirogane goes in and actually does some weird contortionist kung fu.
She hits him in the head, but she kicks him in a way where she has to, like, bring her foot all the way back around.
Yeah, it's like contortionist kung fu.
Yeah, it's like, that seemed a lot more unnecessary than just kicking him in the head.
I thought it was funny and cool, and definitely plays into the whole,
Masaru also thought it was funny.
Yeah, it plays into the whole, circus performer, kind of acrobat sort of deal that she's got going on. And she never has changed her clothes, not once.
Oh yeah, I know. Even when she's cooking dinner, she's still wearing that polka dot circus outfit.
Yeah. Like, what the hell?
Oh wait, no. She changed her clothes near the end of the episode when she put on Narumi's shirt.
Oh yeah, it's just, I borrowed your shirt.
Yeah.
Doesn't even ask him, but
we also got a stereo. So the kid laughed, and then Narumi was fine, and then we got like a stereotypical shower scene where Masaru's in the tub. Shirogane is like, I'm gonna come in here and wash your back, and then she goes in there, and then Narumi's like, I'm also gonna come in here and wash your back,
because it's like, oh wait, with that arm he can't take care of himself. And then he sees Shirogane naked. She doesn't really do anything.
No, she's completely unfazed by it.
Yeah, and she even brings it up later. He's like, hey, sorry about earlier. It's like, there's no big deal. It happens all the time in the circus. What, did you think I'd be fazed by it?
When he walked in, I immediately expected her to, like, jump kick his face or something like that, because that's how anime has conditioned me to think.
But no, it was actually, like, she's actually sort of, you know, rational. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, almost scarily rational.
Instead of the usual anime female.
Like, yeah, jump kick and all that fun shit, but no, we also find out a little bit more about the people who are coming after Masaru.
Oh yeah, the kidnapping team and the slaughter team.
Yeah. Which, again, not necessarily the most creative names, like, oh, I wonder what they do.
Yeah.
They kidnap and kill, obviously.
Self-explanatory.
But, whatever.
Masaru gets kidnapped again by a bigger puppet.
Yeah, like, that looks like it's being controlled by two people?
No, it's being controlled by one guy, and then he also had a partner.
Oh, yeah.
Which is probably going to fit into what you said last week, that Shirogane is going to do the puppet fighting, and then Narumi's going to do the non-puppet fighting.
Yeah, which is actually really cool, because you've got, like, people protecting him on two fronts, but also Masaru wanting to actually learn how to be able to protect himself.
Oh, yeah, and then Narumi offers to teach him Kempo.
Yep. But Narumi also getting the ever-loving shit kicked out of him by some guy. Being granted, it was a sucker punch, but...
Yeah.
It's like, I'm dealing with amateurs like you. It's like, yeah, because you fucking sucker punched him.
I'm waiting for cool team attacks.
That'll be super cool.
Everybody likes team attacks.
Yeah, team attacks are almost always cool. Like, I don't know. Like, this series, once again, seems like it's going to be a kind of standard shonen battle series, but also that's going to be a lot of fun. It has, like, a lot of, like, nostalgic value to it. Like, the fact that it feels like it's something from the 90s. Again, like, kind of in the same vein that Megalobox sort of brings that kind of scratch that nostalgia itch.
Yeah. Megalobox, like, reminded me a lot of, like, Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah. Which,
visual-wise.
This looks a lot more polished than Megalobox, but it still has that sort of, like, image about it, where it looks sort of, like, the character designs like, oh yeah, this looks so distinctly 90s.
Yeah, Shirogane, specifically, her face just, like, screams, like, late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, exactly.
JoJo.
Right? Just like her face and her haircut and everything. Mm-hmm. But also there is the kind of sort of potential awkward romance blooming between, like, maybe one-sided romance, because Narumi sort of thinks, like, oh wow, she's actually kind of hot.
I think it would be cool if... it would be cute if Shirogane and Narumi ended up together and they also just adopt Masaru.
Yeah.
That'd be a cute little family thing.
It would be.
But that's probably not gonna... Like, it might allude to it at the end of the series. It feels like since it's a shonen series, it's probably just gonna end, like, with the status quo. That's how shonen series usually end.
Yeah. typically. But anyway, that's...
really quick, want to bring up, the episode ended on like a really creepy old man face, just like looking over Masaru as he's sleeping, just like, yeah.
Just, God, why? There's no need for that. It's so creepy.
Find out creepy old man next episode.
And also we'll also see like Shirogane and Narumi fighting a bunch of really skilled puppeteers. So, yeah, more battles.
So, next up is SSSS.Gridman.
Oh, man. Okay.
They're gonna combine!
They're gonna combine?
Oh, that's so cool.
Alright, but let's address a couple of the complaints here. Like, one of them you said was, you notice how they tended to recycle footage?
Yeah, they recycled footage a couple times this episode. Like where Auntie was he just started shooting his blasts. They recycled that. They recycled the like really fast motion movement.
Yeah.
That's my only complaints about this episode, really.
Yeah, this episode seemed to be more of the same. Like you said, this felt like more of a Trigger show than Darling in the Franxx did.
Yeah, just because like the animation of, like, for example, when Caliber busts through the window and kind of jumps out with everybody.
Yeah,
the animation felt very kind of wacky and triggery.
Yeah, that's true. I do think that it was I do think that was a really just funny moment, just out of nowhere. It's like, oh, he's just standing out there. Okay, that's probably fine.
after the kaiju shows up.
Just, oh yeah! But we get to see most of this episode, we thought that Yuta and Gridman were fucking dead.
Yeah.
Like, we just thought they were dead. I'm like, wait, really? Is he dead? I was thinking, no, he can't be.
No, there's no way he's going to be dead in this kind of show.
Yeah.
Unless it just took to episode 3 to become the dark...
You mean if they pull a Monica?
Yeah. No, I didn't expect that to happen at all.
But I was thinking to myself, it's just like, okay, this feels really weird, though.
Yeah. So, first we were introduced to Auntie, which I'm assuming Auntie is probably one of Akane's creations.
Mm-hmm.
She probably, like, carved him or whatever.
Yeah.
But Auntie is, like, this little boy.
Yeah, he is. And probably an orphan or something, probably just lived by himself. Because he freaking acts like a freaking savage.
Well, either that, or she just created him.
Maybe.
But yeah, he's like, she like rewards him with like food when he does well. And then he just like, just eats, like, just dips his face into it, yeah. Rika actually shows up and almost sees him for a little bit. And then he gets a call from Akane and runs off. Mm-hmm. Turns into a kaiju, and yeah, that's when Caliber just busts through the window. Yeah,
Caliber busts through the window. Gridman fights Auntie, but Auntie is able to like copy and is able to copy all of Gridman's powers and actually beats him.
Yeah, because he summons a sword. He's like, "Oh yeah, we have the sword. We'll have an edge." But then like Auntie grows like claws,
and then on top of that, it's Yuta's and just no, I don't want to hurt another human being.
Oh yeah, because earlier on, Show was like, what if they're actually humans inside these kaiju? And he was like, nah, just kidding.
Yeah. But then he's convinced that, oh my god, yes, this person's a human, so
because he was talking.
Mm-hmm. It's just like, yeah, I can't do this. And then, so they disappear for a while. And then 3 new people show up. They look about as Trigger as you could possibly expect.
Oh, man. Yeah, the Neon Genesis Junior High students, which... Alright, Trigger, settle down, okay? Like, just because your last show, everyone compared it to Neon Genesis, you don't have to shove it in our faces.
That it's just... Because, I mean, to be fair, Franxx really did feel like a lot like Evangelion in some parts, but yeah, I was thinking, it's like, wait, the Neon Genesis, oh my god, are you serious?
Yeah, they showed up, they don't look like high school students, but the big, Max, I believe his name was, the big buff guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's anime, whatever, I guess.
He's got a face mask on.
Yeah.
He goes into the computer, like, after realizing it's like, oh yeah, by the way, Gridman's still alive.
Well, yeah, they're like, hey Rika, how about you call him? And she was like, oh, I guess I'll do that. And then he like picks up and it turns out that they were just waiting. They were waiting Like, they just disappeared and they're waiting in cyberspace to ambush him, I guess. Was the thing. They're waiting for the kaiju to show back up again. So they... And then Yuto's like, I didn't think that phones would work. So I didn't call you.
Yeah.
But yeah, they show up again. The kaiju shows up again. They start fighting. And then, yeah, Max just busts in as a Optimus Prime-ass looking truck.
Yeah, and then decides to combine, turn into, like, these giant freaking,
Oh, it was so cool!
It was. The show is so hype.
Yeah, so, one thing I think CG has an advantage here.
It really, like you said, it really captures, like, the weight of these things.
So, it captures the weight in a way that 2D animation can't, really. Like, I don't know how to explain it too well. I'm not an animator. But it just, whenever, they did it so well how the punch had went in, like, it almost looked slow motion, but it wasn't really slow motion, it was just that big of a monster, getting punched in the face.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's this, like, the fight between, ever since, this show has continuously gotten better ever since episode 1. Like, it feels very Monster of the Week, sort of like old school, like, super robot show, but still, it's delivering on all the right notes here.
Yeah, the opening theme kicked in right when the triumphant thing happened, because that's like a big thing with old like super robot shows.
Yeah,
and then the Sakuga of that. Wait, is it Sakuga if it's CG? I think it's still Sakuga technically.
I'm not sure,
but yeah, how he just does like he spins around to punch him, but just to increase his momentum for the punch, like his arm booster activates. And he does like a really quick spin and punches him in the head. Then he just like tosses him over his head.
It looks so good.
Oh yeah,
just suplexes him pretty much. It was so good. But yeah, to nobody's surprise, Gridman wins, saves the day. Akane acts really bitchy about it and just throws the food at his face.
I like her as an antagonist a lot.
Yeah, she definitely feels like she's childish. She's spoiled. I mean, I don't really know, like, what her end game is. I think she's just a spiteful little brat.
Yeah, she seems like a real person.
Yeah.
That's why I like her.
Like, I mean, exaggerated and psychotic, but because she made a kaiju just because her teacher bumped into her and didn't apologize for it.
It's like, well, I'm talking about specifically her reaction to Auntie losing. Because she was like, because as soon as she thought she killed Gridman, she just, like, maniacally laughing, like, I did it! I finally did it! And then all of her high mood was just crashed away when Auntie lost, and she just threw his food in his face, and it all fell on him, and she's just being super pissy about it. I love that.
Yeah, she does feel like a kind of a real bratty teenager, but I'm really enjoying this show. The action is so good in it. It's so much fun.
Yeah, let's just hope it keeps going up and doesn't pull a Frank's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they've only got 20, they don't have to worry about 24 episodes, they've only have to worry about 12, so maybe we'll just be able to see that. So, next up, Sword Art Alicization.
Yeah, so, quick aside, this show actually ended up being rated lower than Run with the Wind. Off both of our, when we were trying to figure out what to watch, it got placed lower. But the community bumped it up above Run with the Wind.
Yeah.
So we're like, alright. That's an easy way to figure out ties and stuff like that.
Yep, so, but I think that Alicization is setting up to be at least a decent arc. Like,
that seems really good so far.
As long as Kirito doesn't pull typical Kirito bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm scared that's going to happen.
Every time Kirito goes near the demon tree, I'm like, no! He's going to chop it down. Because it's like, no, don't fucking pull something that stupid. Because we find out that, yes, there are like magic weapons and stuff in this game. Like Yu-Gi-Oh brings out like this magic sword that was basically made from like a dragon something or other. Dragon bone or magic or god rock, I don't know.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous, but it
was made by the gods or made in a way that the gods helped.
Yeah, that's the way they explained it, which is actually kind of interesting. But But yeah, they are trying to figure out a quicker way to chop down the tree so that Yu-Gi-Oh can go help Kirito rescue Alice. That is ultimately what they're trying to do.
Yeah, they're trying to get Yu-Gi-Oh out of his calling.
Yep. Which, it's an interesting idea. It's like, there's nothing in the taboo index that says that we can't use swords to chop it down, right? And it's like, oh, I guess not, but it's going to be very difficult to chop it down with a sword. Kirito tries it, and then whips it, like, almost immediately.
Yeah, because Kirito is a good swordsman. He's not a good lumberjack.
Nope.
But it does, like, a really big chip into the side of the tree, which they're like, oh, wow, that was crazy how it did that, but it did, like, 1 HP worth of damage, because it didn't hit the, like, spot they were chipping away at.
Yeah, exactly.
So they figured, oh, maybe we need to hit that spot, which I really hope that Yu-Gi-Oh! Either they just leave it, or I really hope that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is the one who ends up chopping down the tree. Because he's been training to chop a tree down for like 7 years.
Yeah.
And I think it would, maybe if like Kirito gives him a little bit of toolage.
Like what he's kind of been doing in this episode. Like, okay, here, it's like, so, it's like here, it's like, alter your stance a little bit like this, pretty much. He basically does give him a little bit of instruction on how to wield the sword that way. But
Yu-Gi-Oh! Says it's like, oh, it's worthless. It'll never work. Like, I feel like he should just keep trying it. I feel like it'll be worth it if you eventually learn how to swing the sword at the tree instead of the axe. Yeah,
exactly. But they also realize that, like, Kirito actually has a weapon he can't wield. Like he realized, like, his, like, one of his stats that allows him to wield the blade is actually lower than what is required to wield it.
Oh yeah, he's like doesn't have enough numbers.
Yeah, pretty much. Which I don't know, like kind of reminded me of like, oh yes, this is a game. Like I get it, it's SAO, like everything's a game world, but I don't know. It would have been kind of interesting to me if they actually played it off as sort of a little bit more fantastical.
Well, it's just got to stick with the theme of the show, really.
I guess, but I don't know.
I think that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is probably going to be the one using it, because in the opening it shows Yu-Gi-Oh! Using that sword, not Kirito.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Probably is going to be the one to chop it down. But, so, the plot happened. Selka, Alice's little sister, Kirito, like, shows up, or talks to her for a little while before bedtime. They have a little bit of back and forth, and then Kirito eventually tells her that, oh yeah, I'm sorry nobody ever told you. By the way, Alice got taken away because she touched her little fingy wingies on the no-no spot.
Yeah, and then that prompts her to run off, and she's gonna go try and find him. And then she gets kidnapped by goblins.
Ah, goblins!
Ah, goblins!
They're gonna eat her and rape her!
Oh my god!
Not necessarily in that order. Yeah, definitely goblin PTSD.
I was actually surprised when the goblins started talking.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting them to be capable of speech.
Yeah, the goblins are usually like something like that.
I mean, unless they're World of Warcraft goblins.
Yeah, then they just get fetishized and made into porn.
I did not know about that. Alright. But, yeah, with this, we get to see more goblins, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Is freezing up again, just like he did that day.
Yeah, they're, like, hiding there, and Yu-Gi-Oh's, like, you think he's like, ah, Selka! And the goblins are like, oh, hey, look at more people that we can eat.
Yeah.
Or they're just going to kill him, I think, because they're going to sell Selka.
Yeah.
Is the intent, I believe. The boss comes up, he's like, oh, we can't sell guys, so might as well kill him. And then Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like, error 404.
Yeah, will to fight not found.
Yeah.
Arrow 404 pissed my pants. But I think they kind of drew out, like, how, like, frozen in terror he was. Because, like, he called him out. Like, he's like, Yu-Gi-Oh! 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 Like, 5 times.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Like, they called him, like, 5 times to try to get him to move. But, I don't know. It just felt really drawn out and kind of obnoxious. But,
hopefully next episode we get to see a lot more cool sword fighting. Or at least a little bit of cool sword fighting. Because that's my probably favorite part of SAO. Is, like, just the action scenes. They're always so good. Like, just even the part where Kirito brought the sword back and swung it at the tree. Like, they put so much detail into just that one sword swing. It looks so good.
Anyway, so, next up, Thunderbolt Fantasy 2. She actually went and referred to them as puppets.
Oh yeah, my puppets. Like how they're getting defeated by this guy. It's like, oh yes, your puppets.
Yes.
Like hopefully you don't have some kind of god that's going to tell you about what you really are.
Yeah, like she doesn't pull like a Deadpool and is aware of the fact that she's a puppet.
Yeah, so I went out of my way. I want to know the characters' names.
Okay.
So I went out of my way to like mark at least the characters that were interesting and that had plot points. I ended up writing down their names. So I apologize in advance if I butcher their Chinese pronunciations. But yeah, so Shang Buhuan and Lang Wu Yao. So Shang Buhuan is the main character.
Also known as the Edgeless Blade.
Yeah, and Lang Wu Yao is the red-haired guy.
Okay. And what is the name of the enigmatic Gale?
Lin Zhuya.
Okay. Yeah, these names are a mouthful. That's why I typically refer to them by their titles.
The Princess of Cruelty. She doesn't have a name yet.
Yeah,
She's called her the Princess of Cruelty.
Yeah, with her blade, the Knight of Mourning, aka not Soul Edge.
Yeah. So they ended up just running away because Shang Buhuan got poisoned. Yeah, because she like scratched him. Mm-hmm. So they got away to the forest, and then Jiaquang Wang, the
magistrate that was chasing him.
Yeah, he shows up, and he like turns around to his men, saying like, "So his men don't want to attack the civilians." So he's saying, "Well, truly, the fault lies with her because the fault lies with Shang Buhuan because." He caused her to come after him and make the zombies. Mm-hmm. The zombies were attacking him. So truly, if you kill these people, you are serving justice. And we have to choke on our tears as we slay our countrymen to solve this problem. And it's just all the soldiers were like, "That's good enough for me."
Yeah, and then they say something to the effect of justice, such a powerful word. It can be twisted to make. With enough passion, you can make it fit any cause, or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember what the exact wording is, but basically just pointing out that it's like, yeah, justice is such a
convenient term.
Yeah, exactly. And so yeah, he slaughters all of them. She the Princess of Cruelty runs away again. Manages to go back to goes back to her shed where the 7 blasphemous deaths sword is being hit. All these swords have such cool names.
Yeah.
Like the 7 blasphemous deaths.
It starts like glowing. She's like, "I need power." And it's like, well, you can have power. All you have to do is use me. And then she like manages to like get away from it or get its hold off on her. And then it's just like, man, its power and influence is so strong even when it's sheathed. I have to be very careful with this. So I feel like eventually she's going to end up drawing it. Yeah, I think so too. Which even Shangbu Huang is basically saying something to the effect of, hopefully she's not an idiot and does the really stupid thing. Either that or it's going to be like a farm boy. They're just going to randomly find it. Yeah, just, oh man, this is a cool looking sword. So then we get Yu King, one of, what's his name? Hakeyoko, the leader of the fortress. Oh yeah, yeah. One of his underlings. He sends off him and then another one of the gate guys, to go find a healer to get rid of the poison. And then they find this Buddhist monk, Dikong, a Buddhist monk that can manipulate ki. Yep, yin ki and yang ki is the way he explained it. Mm-hmm. But which is like dark and light, probably something like that. And he was able to like make this old guy like cough up the poison in his system, but then he tries to do the same thing with this with the leader of the fortress. But then basically way he describes it of, I can't get rid of poison, I can only transfer where it is. Well, I want to touch on before that. There was a really cool conversation. Oh, he said, right. Does he deserve to live? Oh, that's right. Which it didn't seem like he was questioning his life, the worth of his life. He was deciding if he wanted to risk his life to save him. It was like, because the guards were like, "How dare you, a common Buddhist?" Which I want to point out just something about that. It's like how dare a lowly Buddhist monk? It's like, yeah, the lowly Buddhist monk who actually has the ability to save his life, not you. Yeah, maybe check your words a little carefully. Yeah. And he looked like a bad guy when I first saw him. Yeah, he looked like the
the Screaming Phoenix Killer, I think the name of one of the characters from the first season, like the guy with twin swords that wanted to kill the enigmatic Gale.
Yeah, he just looked like a bad guy to me.
He did, just like the way that he looked very pale, and stuff like that. But
after he saw how passionate the guards were about saving Hakayoko's life, he's like, all right, I've decided. And then he takes the poison from inside the guy's body and then switches it with himself.
Yeah.
He switches his tampered yin ki, which hit with his own good yin ki, and then ends up getting the poison inside his own body, because that's like the only way he knew how to save him.
Yeah, and he was saying, all right, there were only trace amounts of poison, which is dangerous for somebody in his, as he puts it, advanced age, but for somebody younger like him, it'll slow him down, but it's not going to kill him. Well,
he said it might kill him. Because he's like, well, I'm older, or I'm younger, so I can handle it better. I might live if the gods will it, or something.
Oh, that's right.
Those lines.
Yeah, but then we see Shang, doing much of the same thing, meditating and transferring poison that from his body below his knee.
Yeah, which is just
that sounds like it's going to be super painful.
Yeah, the little instrument was like, hey, that's probably going to rot off your foot.
Yeah, just to put it mildly, that's probably going to rot off your foot.
I was expecting him to chop his own leg off. Because if he forces it all below his knee and chops his leg off below his knee, then that's the poison's gone, right?
Right.
Which makes you wonder, could he force it into a pinky or something? Or a toe? Or there's probably too much for that.
I don't know. That's really interesting. It's almost like key manipulation, and this is kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
And then at the end, we finally get to see the enigmatic Gale return.
Yeah.
Just trust your friends!
Lin Zhuya just shows up out of nowhere.
Yeah, just don't forget to trust your friends, all super, check me out!
Yeah.
I'm the hero of this story.
How's it going, fuckers? Which goes to show his whatever goal he has at the end.
Yeah, we are never 100% sure of what he plans to do. And that's always been fascinating. That's always been fascinating about him, because again, he's not a bad person. He does good, but usually through very shady, tricky ways.
Which also, I wouldn't say he's a good person either. Because, for example, he didn't stop Zhao Wan from killing all those innocent people.
Yeah.
He was just well, it happened. So he's not a good person or a bad person. He just does stuff for whatever endgame he has.
Which I'm curious if he's actually going to be the main villain of the series or what. I don't know. I hope not. But either way, he's a fascinating character. I like him and I like Shang. I think they're very good opposites for each other.
He's probably going to help Shang get the poison out of his body.
Somehow, maybe with that magic smoking pipe of his.
So, last show to talk about today, we have Zombieland Saga.
Alright. I really don't want this to turn into a generic idol show.
Yeah.
The first couple episodes of this were just so solid.
Yeah, and then in this episode, they had the really, really bad CG performance.
Oh.
And I want to believe, since they're doing so far they've done a different genre every episode, I want to feel that was just poking fun at Love Live.
I want to think that.
Because the animation is so good in this show.
Yeah. I mean, it just makes me wonder if that was the point because the show doesn't be seeming to take itself too seriously, so that has to have been a joke, right?
Yeah, a joke on just idol shows in general.
Yeah. But it's kind of funny that even Tatsuya, I believe his name is, or Kotaro, their manager.
The producer?
Yeah. He even seemed sort of less enthusiastic when they were getting ready to do a guerrilla performance out on the street. He's just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not super enthusiastic about it.
On the topic of him, I want to bring up how good he is at simultaneously applauding people and talking shit about them at the same time. He's good zombie, good zombie, good zombie, good.
Oh my god, I'd forgotten about that.
And after that, he's like, but don't let it get to your heads, you stupid zombies. He's like, hey Sakura, good rap. Awesome beat.
Yeah. Oh, the English in this show. Yeah. But yeah, we get a little bit of like introspection from the girls. Like we see like Sakura and them just on a playground, like typical pensive stuff. And the little merry-go-round that Tai is pushing is progressively going faster.
Sakura, everyone else jumps off, and
she's just kind of lost in thought and just goes flying eventually after she stops it. And just whee!
Which, on the topic of Tai, I think she's slowly more and more becoming human. Mm-hmm. Because in the beginning, she was just like, blah, blah, eat everything. And now she's like, she was playing on the merry-go-round. During the performance, she actually moved kind of in coordination with everybody and like bowed and stuff. Mm-hmm. She didn't attack like the little girl, for example.
Yeah.
So I think she's becoming she's getting her brain back, but it's a lot slower than everyone else.
Maybe. I think that too. Like, it's possible we might actually see what makes her so legendary. Yeah. We just know her as the legendary Yamada Tai. But yeah, this episode mainly just wanted to highlight like a few of like the other former idols' hang-ups. Like,
yeah, Zuko and the previous idols before this. They're like, I mean, they're probably thinking this isn't even up to par with how idols are supposed to be, so we're not going to join. Mm-hmm. And also like we're dead. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, and then on top of that, the whole thing, like, oh, we worked. I don't remember which one it was, but we worked so hard to like get to this point anyways, and now it pretty much was for nothing. So we have to start over from the beginning again. It just seems like a lot of effort.
It's like going really far in a video game and then dying without saving. It's just like, whenever that happens to me, I just want to turn the game off and not play it for like a week.
Yeah, it's super frustrating. So I can only imagine how they feel.
Yeah, spending like years of your life to get to a point.
And then dying kind of probably unceremoniously. If Sakura was any indication, she just got randomly hit by a truck.
Oh man, what if it was the producer driving the truck?
Oh my god. Like he had planned this like years in advance.
Yeah, he's just like waiting as soon as she drives out.
Oh my god. I would not put it past the show to do something like that. Like, it'll be total bullshit, but at this point, I'd totally just buy it with the show. Yeah. But, yeah, we get, like, sort of an underwhelming idol show performance. And again, it just felt like any other idol show out there. It felt like Love Live or something like that.
Yes. It was hilariously bad CG. Almost looking like intentionally bad CG.
Which I hope that's what they were going for. Like, I legitimately do. Mm-hmm. I'm having still a lot of fun with the show, and the jokes were still really funny, but those first two episodes, like, I don't know if it's just, like, the shock value of the show is just kind of worn off at this point, or if it's something like that, or maybe they just didn't, or maybe they were just planning on setting it up to be, like, a regular-ass idol show. I really don't want it to be like a Love Live. Because if I wanted to watch Love Live, I'd watch Love Live.
So last episode, I said it's going to be really hard to top that rap scene.
No kidding. Yeah. Because that rap scene was awesome.
Also, for this episode, crappy CG aside, it was actually a pretty heartwarming moment when they were starting to kind of crap out. Everybody was bumping into each other and failing. Yeah. And then I and Junko stepped in to bring the performance back up to an acceptable level.
Yeah, they managed to get, like, because Sakura forgets the words, and Sakura forgets the words and starts freezing up, and then people are pretty much leaving. But then, yeah, those two show up, and they start bringing everybody back up, energy, and then they have one fan by the end of it all, a little girl. The band's name, by the way, is Fran Choo Choo.
Yeah, Fran Choo Choo.
Fran Choo Choo.
Because they couldn't come up with a name, and then Tai sneezed out ink, and they're like, oh, that sounds like a good name. Let's go with that.
Oh, that's right, because she just put the pen in her mouth and started eating it.
She started sucking up the Sharpie juice.
But, yeah, I'm actually really liking, as far as the characters go, I'm really liking Saki. The former biker gang leader.
Yeah, me too.
She's really cool.
Yeah, she stepped up to be... So she is officially the leader of Friend Shushu.
Yeah, she's the leader of Friend. Okay, it was actually kind of funny. Like they wanted to. Like, I think I remember them saying like him congratulating everybody, but then Sakura was like going to say something, but then she got shot down like immediately.
No, it was you're probably thinking of the scene where they're on the playground.
Oh yeah,
Sakura was like, "Come on, guys, we need to step up and train." And like halfway through that,
and then
Yugiri just walks up and bitch slaps her out of the way. She's like, "Sakura, you're an idiot. We need to train and work strong." And Sakura's like, "Eh,
okay." Yeah, that's it.
What a bitch.
Yugiri is a bitch. But yeah, again, a lot of the jokes in this show are still pretty funny. Just like watching the girls kind of interact. I think it's still going to be a lot of fun. But I sincerely hope that this doesn't set a precedent.
Yeah, crappy CG every episode from now on.
Crappy CG, and kind of subpar idol music. I'd want to see more. I am sincerely hoping for more of the a different genre every week.
Yeah,
like a different genre of music, like because death metal, hip hop, and then just your not typical J-pop stuff.
You do like prog rock and opera.
That'd be funny. I have high hopes for this show. I mean, this recent episode has put like a little bit of a damper on it, though. If the CG is any indication.
Yeah, here's hoping for Freddie Mercury zombie.
Freddie Mercury zombie.
So that's going to be it for week 3 of fall 2018. We finally cut down to 12 shows.
Episodes will be a little bit more streamlined from this point forward.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit shorter, probably. Like I said, we're going to be watching That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime and Run with the Wind. Still.
And probably Sudane.
Yeah, and Sudane, yeah, because that...
Now that it's out.
If you have any suggestions of what we should watch, or what you think the other stuff is cool going on this season, go ahead and leave a comment below. And I think that's going to do it, right?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right, take it easy, everybody.
Catch you later. Thanks for stopping by.